But this time, I'm going to go over something in reference to some evidence. This is Devil Dog underscore 88. Devil Dog underscore 88. Want to talk about literally some things that could have been missed, probably were missed in the Nancy Guthrie case. So, with that, just waiting for some devil pups to get on board and let's have that conversation. Once again, this is Devil Dog underscore 88. Want to have that talk in reference to what kind of evidence was possibly missed that could be and could turn out to some very important evidence. Good morning, Carol. Good to have you. Good morning to everybody who's here. This is normally going to be, we would normally do a recap on Sundays, but we're going to talk about something different on evidence that could have been really missed and very, very important. Tina, hello. Thank you for your service. You're very welcome, Tina. It was my honor. Appreciate you. Thank you for the kind words. So, just so we cover and we're clear, normally on Sundays we would kind of recap a lot of stuff. But today I want to focus on something different. It was just, I watched some things on the evidence and it just seemed very, very important. Even that I never really thought about because it's not in my wheelhouse, but it is very crucial. And then you have to ask the question, why was this not gathered? Why was this not obtained? They should have never driven on the driveway, in my opinion. Very true, Carol. Very true. Very true. Groundski, hello to all. Good to have you all. Good to have you, Groundski. Yes, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Mary, good morning. Good morning. Good to have you. If you are live and you're just watching and you're not subscribed, subscribe. Help everybody become smarter by joining Double Dog underscore 88. Good morning, Carolina girl. Did anyone happen to see the Spirit Box live last night on YouTube about Nancy? No, I didn't see that. I was watching a lot of different things, but I didn't see that. Heck, I didn't even think anything was on. To be honest, there was a couple little things here and there, but nothing of any significance. So I'll definitely catch it up. If you want to send that to my link, or you want to send it to my email, send it to my email, and I'll definitely take a look at it. How's everybody doing this Sunday morning? I know out here in Ohio, it's supposed to be a fairly 70-ish day before the week starts. We're supposed to get rain all week, Monday through Friday. So that's kind of suck. But short of that, looks like it's going to be a nice day today. All right, everybody, let's get started. So, what I'm going to talk about is some things that really, I watched some things on evidence collections and it really just bothered me. Will do, Devil Dog. We'll send you to your email. Thank you so much, Carolina girl. So here's the issue. Everybody's talked about in some variation or another about this. 60s in Northeast Ohio, says Carol. Yes. I'm hoping it gets up to 70 is what we're hoping for. But at this point, I'll take anything. Just a little bit of sun come out. So we've all heard in different, streamers and people talk about evidence that may have been left behind. Why did they take the floor mat in front of the house mat in front of the door where the bloodstains were at? And I thought about that for a while, and I thought, well, maybe they had different types of things that they have, that they know how to do. Bloom is in the house. Good morning. I am a new subscriber, doing well, watching from Philly. Good to have you, the Philly, the brotherly love. Hoorah. Good to have you. Thank you for subscribing. No doubt. So here's what I want to talk about. The gathering. The beginning, let's go back to the beginning of when they first noticed the blood splatter in the front door, okay? What is the name of Two Backpack Guy? His name, Two Backpack Guy, was Ronald. Oh, God, I just had that on my mind. Ronald, give me a second. Ronald Lopez. Ronald Lopez. And I think his middle name was, I can't think of his middle name right now, but I'll get it to you. But it's Ronald Lopez is the double pack guy. Mary, Mary, my hometown in Philly. Hoorah. Good to have you, the brotherly love. Love that. You know, I'm not a big fan of Philly because they're always really a good football team. And I'm a Denver Bronco fan. But you know what? I like the idea that it's close to Ohio. And that's a nice thing. Bloom, thank you. Wishing you the best on your channel. Thank you so much, Bloom. I really do appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. Carol, good morning. So let's get on the topic of the information that is crucial and wondering why it was missed. So everybody has mentioned at one time or another, you have all heard about the floor mat, the house mat in front of the door on the outside. Go Browns forever, says Carol. The dog pound. Oh, Lord. So at the beginning, when you enter the front door, there was that mat left, right? That's where that perp went ahead and was putting the flowers on top. Robert says the Buffalo Bills. Awesome, awesome. At the front camera, he was trying to cover up. Remember, he went up, put his fist up on the where the camera was at. It looked like he was trying to, maybe mess with the door and the camera. And then he went back, got some foliage, some flower plants, or the little foliage, and went up there and he started trying to cover up the camera, right? And in that whole process, we saw a lot of things later when cameras were on. We saw a lot of things that were at the bottom on the floor, on the ground, which was a mat with some what looked like blood splattering, and later determined it was Nancy Guthrie's blood. Carol, I know, maybe next year. Hope so, hope so. Groundsky, go Bills Mafia. The Mafia's in the town, in the house. So the actual question is, why did they take the mat? And, you know, honestly, at the beginning, I thought, well, with technology today, they probably have some stuff. They had that front cover, the white front cover that they were looking at stuff, and you really didn't know what they were doing. And I kind of put it off as in maybe they just have a new method that they use to go ahead and collect this type of information. But then I'm watching some different shows with different people, and then it dawns on me, no, evidence is evidence. Evidence is important, especially when it's dealing with blood right next to it. So the mat that was in the front, in my opinion, should have been taken, because not only they could have scanned it for any type of residue, blood residue, or anything. But on that mat, you had some fibers on that mat, specifically fibers. And you also had some of that foliage that fell down that was on that mat. And now you say, why is that important? Well, we know the perp used a mouth light, right? We know that he had the mouth light on when he was going back to get the foliage, which means as he got closer, he was able to put all the, all that stuff trying to cover the camera. Hey, Lisa, Lisa's in the house. Good to have you. He was trying to cover up the camera, and a lot of that foliage also came down on top of the mat. Now, why that's crucial is because when they took whoever took Nancy out that front door, if in fact she came out the front door, is what is believed, and somehow they loaded her into the vehicle, they very well could have left a lot of that fiber of that rug, the fiber of itself that comes with the rug, because there was fiber on there. Make no mistake. And it would have been a lot easier to detect that fiber if you had something to compare it to, you know. So, for example, this is just an example. When they went ahead and searched Luke Daly's vehicle, okay, when they went ahead and searched Luke Daly's vehicle, if they were checking for that fiber, now they were checking for anything, right? But if they were literally checking for that fiber or anything and come up with that fiber, guess what? You're going to have a match with that type of rug. Especially if you have that rug with you in your possession, right? Good morning, Falls. You would have had a match of that fiber in a vehicle because the person was stepping all over that mat. And there was a lot of that loose foliage on that mat. Okay, so by them taking the mat, all they had to do was roll it, put it in a paper bag, put it as evidence, and tag it where you got it from. Great to see you, Gronsky, says Paige. So that mat is crucial, but it goes more than that. It also goes to running some type of forensics or running some type of blue light to see if you could find literally if you could find some blood that was in between the crevices of that mat, because we know that right in front of that mat we have some what was called blood splatter, if you will, for a better lack, blood droppings, okay, with combination of bubbles with the blood, the way someone coughs out when they're trying to get that out of their system because maybe they don't, they're choking on it, so they cough it up, or they got hit, or something happened, and they bend over, hunch over, almost like on their fours, and they cough it out, right? So the idea that that person could have literally coughed up some of that on the on that floor mat is very possible. I mean, I'm talking very, very possible. Got to remember, all we need is a little bit of fibers, right? Now, granted, that would have been of the victim, but you got to remember when that pert was messing with his mouth light constantly, and he was grabbing that foliage. There's a good possibility that there's DNA on that foliage as well. Okay, because he had to take that mouth light out at times. So there's a good possibility that during his course of being out there, he was removing it and putting it back in left and right. Maybe subconsciously he was thinking, well, I have gloves, so they're not going to get my fingerprints, but they could get your DNA. So they could have took the mat and whatever little bit of foliage was on that, they could have tested for DNA. All right, because of the fact that this perp had to have been taking that mouth light in and out of his mouth periodically, because it'd be easier to breathe for one, right? And he wasn't going to keep it in his mouth the whole time. So therefore, you could find some foliage on that mat that had a little bit of, all it takes is just specks. I mean, the littlest micro specks of foliage, the little seed dribblings or whatever from that little plant or whatever in the hell he took, the leafage, flower, or whatever. All you need is just a tidbit to get a DNA particle, a match or something. And that would have come probably from either Nancy or the perp, more than likely. Not saying it for sure, but more than likely. So why is that important? Because then you can run it through CODIS, you can run it through all your NCIS, your NCI, all your systems, police systems, and you can run it and see if there's a match. If this person had a crime in the past, it would pop up like right now. So that's one. The other thing is the idea that the blood splatter, how it was on the ground. You guys saw a footage of what looked to be a footprint, right? Or a shoe print, if you will, for a better lack of words. And I'm going to pull up a picture here, so give me a second. So you know that obviously the splatter, you guys remember seeing the splatter like that, right? The darker, the light darker, some that had bubbles in it, air pockets. They call them bubbles. Now, a lot of people, I should say a lot, some specialists, forensic people have come out and said that a lot of these things showed a lot of what's called bubbles. Okay, there's always some type of bubbles with blood when you're regurgitating and trying to spit it out of your system, trying to get it out. You're coughing it up, and it's going everywhere. Okay, so a lot have speculated that, uh, but then there was even one that was even found on the rocks itself. Now, apparently, there was a trail, according to some people who investigated this and literally watched it. You could see literally right there the blood droppings. Okay, and some people who have reported this have said that that went all the way up to the drive, where apparently they're assuming that that's where they loaded the victim, in this case Nancy. Okay, now the importance of that is they could have went in there and just for shits and giggles tried to go ahead and figure out and took some DNA samples just to guarantee that that was still Nancy's blood, because then it would have showed that whole pattern. Don't know if they did or not, but just saying. Then another thing that was which they should have gotten, in my opinion and in many others' opinion, is when you look at, for example, literally, remember this? This was the actual print. And you see how precise that print is? It appears and was suggested as from a foot, a shoe print. And the reason is because you can see the ridges. The way the ridges are, they're all defined. They're sharp ridges. That's something that a shoe would have left, no doubt about it. And you even see the little blood splatters on the side of it, okay? Now, this was on the front porch, right? So what that should have done is they should have took a piece of everywhere of that cement block and just cut it out and taken it with them, because it's evidence. And I know people will say, "Oh yeah, but you're destroying the ground." No one gives a shit about the flooring. Not when somebody has gone missing. No one gives a shit. That's the least of your worries. Okay? What you want is every bit of evidence that you can have. The more the better. And in that block, they would have just cut it out, literally, and taken it with them and labeled it evidence from where they got it from. Now, there was also a spot that they were talking about, and it was right at the edge. Give me a second. I'm trying to find it. Okay, so this is not necessarily that one, but I'm going to show you. So you see this mat? You see that mat, right? You see the mat, and you see the blood splatter right there, right? You see what's on top of that mat? That's foliage. Okay, that's part of that little plants. And see all those droppings on the top part of that mat? That's what I'm talking about as far as The perp would have literally have touched that with his hands. That after he's been removing his mouth light, right? It would have got on that foliage, and what the foliage droppings that you see on top of that mat, had they gathered that mat and put it in a paper sack, rolled it and put it in a paper sack, they could have went back and they could have took all that foliage that you see there, and possibly they could have took that foliage and ran it for DNA. Not saying they would have got DNA from the perp, but there's a high probability that they could have got DNA from the perp. Because as he's taking that nightlight out of his mouth, he's leaving saliva on his gloves, which then is transferring to literally the foliage, the little plant flowers that he was pulling off to cover up literally the camera itself. You see what I'm saying? You follow me? So that's why it was crucial for that match to go, irregardless, even though they had another way or they had a special way. The more I thought about it, the more I watched different people talk about this, that is what you wanted to do. You wanted to take that. You needed to take that. And I guarantee you that because looks like a black and or blue carpet, and you see how close, literally right there, some of the blood droppings are, I almost guarantee you that there had to be blood droppings on that mat. No doubt about it. Jenny's in the house. Good morning, DD and everyone. Good to have you, Jenny. So that's why it's crucial for them to have taken that mat. Without a doubt, it's a no-brainer. You take anything that was left behind by the victim, like this in this case, and or the perp. Prime example. And these are not little pieces. This foliage right there, that's a big chunk. All these little droplets, that's important. You need to get that stuff. You need to run that. And more so, the mat itself has fibers in it. It's made out of a lot of different fibers. And if they could have run a vehicle or something, they would have that listed that it would match, a good match to whoever put her in the car. Follow me? Click like and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Click like and subscribe. Be a double pup in the channel. Help everybody get smarter. So now, that's why it is so damn crucial that they would have got this. And it was left behind. Literally, left behind. How do you leave that kind of stuff behind? It's too important to leave behind. Then they have another spot. And I'm going to show you right now. And it appears that this spot is another part of a print. Okay? So you see this, right? This is a shoe print. This was identified as a shoe print. They don't know if it was the back, the front, or what. But at somewhere, this footprint or this shoe print right there, that had to be the bottom of the perp. Okay? And this was outside the front door, which means what? They were struggling to literally get the victim, in this case Nancy, out that door. Most likely she came out of that front door. And why do I say they were struggling? It's because if you ever try picking up somebody or moving somebody, you're jostling your feet. Can't see my feet jostling, but you're jostling, your feet are moving constantly, like dragging in a way too, because you're trying to get your footing, right? Especially if that perp is either hunched over, as they have stated that it's a very good possibility that she was hunched over as she was coughing up a lot of that phlegm, a lot of that blood, a lot of that air pocket, in the blood. So why does the guest house look messed up? Now, I'm not on the guest house right now. This is the front carpet. Hang on that with the guest house. I'm not even there yet. So the idea that right next to it, you have this spot right here. Okay? Right here. That's another part of that footprint. or the shoe print. That tells you that that person was moving back and forth, right? Back and forth. So now what you have is, there was not necessarily a struggle, but there was a strain trying to bring that victim through that front door, which means you're probably going to get a lot more smudge, if you will, for better lack of words, from the foot to the blood, maybe even other footprints. You don't have a complete footprint, but what you have is that at some point, this mark right here, that perp had to have stepped into some pretty heavy blood to get that on his foot in the bottom of his shoe. Because that's a very dark spot, literally. I mean, this right here, the little ones you look there, the droplets, they're about a quarter, maybe a little less than a quarter in diameter. This is a big spot, which means the more darker, the bigger the spot is, the more prone that perp had to have stepped in something that was quite big of a puddle, if you will, for a better lack of words. Not saying it was a puddle, but was quite a bit more blood than usual. And he would have tracked that all the way to where he was taking her. That's why they said that that on the footage, literally on the footage of this rock path of bloodstains, what appears to be bloodstains, that there was a path that this perp has made with the victim, Nancy, all the way to the road, to not the road, but to the driveway. And going to the driveway, it would have ended somewhere there. Okay? Now, the other thing that was pointed out that I thought was very amazing was literally around here. Okay? So, you see that entryway, right? You see that entryway. So that entryway is the front part right there, okay? That entryway right there. Now, around the side, it's they were asking the question that how strong is it? How strong is that soil? Because if it's not as firm as you're getting close to the road, right? Because that's where the driveway is, then what happens is around that, you should be able to walk on it and it should leave a footprints. And we don't know if there was ever any footprints left literally on the side of the house. You follow what I'm saying? Let me answer a couple of these questions, everybody. Give me a second. Let me answer a couple of these questions. Why does the guest house, says Carol? I'm not there yet, sweetheart. I'll be there in a few. Hands says hi. Hands says I'm not sure what I am new. Thank you, Hands. Thank you for being here. How is Nancy doing? We have no clue. April, welcome, Hands man. I mean, where's Nancy? I have no clue. I don't think anybody has a clue at this point. April, still not found, unfortunately. Falls, good question, Handsome. Handsome, oh, been 3 months. Yep, 3 months, and we're still trying to figure it out, as well as the FBI, Pima County Sheriff's Office, and etc. So the idea is that around that house, it's kind of softer. Okay? It's kind of softer, and you're going to see more footprints, right? Because the guy, if you remember, the perp who came in to the camera, and if you recall, and I'm going to show you, the perp, when he came by the camera, this perp here, he started on the left side. He walked on the edge of the walkway. Literally, they show a footage of him stepping on the edge and then coming this way, and then eventually going towards the middle, which means he came from the left side. So then you have to ask the question, if he came from the left side, which is the garage side, then he came around probably the front part of the house, which means you would think that if that ground is soft, you would have had footprints pretty much everywhere, right? This makes perfect sense. Of the perp walking, coming around from the left side, coming around this way, going on the edge of the sidewalk, stepping off the edge, going towards the middle of that opening. We didn't hear nothing about were there any footprints gathered. Nothing, zero, nada. And that's the problem you run into. When you're not collecting all the evidence, that's what happens, literally. You don't get anything. Here's the front part of the house. So around the front part of the house where there's the plants and whatnot, all the way around going to the right and to the left, it is very soft ground, very soft. You're going to be able to step on it, and there should be some type of footprint or some type of shoe print, okay? And then as you go outer this way, as you go like coming this way to the front driveway, now what you're seeing is it gets harder because that's where the driveway is at the front. Good morning, Bridget. Good to have you. So the idea is that there was a lot of stuff missing, especially that mat. Now, there's a lot of other spots that were talked about and focused on. Okay? Literally that we're focused on. But that mat was crucial. That mat was, I mean, very, very crucial. That mat contained. Now think about that for a minute. He grabbed the flowers, the perp, okay? His mouth light in his mouth. He picks up whatever he's going to take. Doesn't rush, slowly goes. At some point, now he's going to put it on top of here. And there has to be an exchange of that light. So he's getting DNA. I almost guarantee you there's DNA everywhere because he can't keep that mouth light in his mouth for a long period of time. It's impossible. So there's going to be a lot of DNA that has fell to the ground. You follow me? And that's the problem that you get into by not taking everything that you possibly can. Okay? You got to take everything, especially that mat. The biggest part of the mat, like I said before, is the fiber. The fiber is the big part because the fiber is what makes up that mat, right? And so then if they go ahead and they're able to find that little bit of fiber, you guys all seen crime shows and movies. You have all seen a lot of things literally in shows where they go and they're looking with the blue light and they see either a blood spot or they see some type of flower from exotic plant or something. You all seen that kind of stuff. Well, that's the same thing you would see with the fibers coming from a rug. They look at the rug in the car, the mat, and they look and they see, oh, this is the type of carpet or the type of mat that they have. However, this piece of fiber doesn't belong in it because it's nowhere near anywhere in this car. Therefore, that is a clue. So now you take that fiber, either you cut out a piece of that or you take that fiber, you bag it, you tag it, and you look for more clues. You follow me? It just, you let the facts lead you to where the crime not only happened, but where a lot of this evidence could have led to. Because I'm telling you right now, the perps, they weren't, and I know I'm saying this loosely, and this is just my opinion, but I don't believe they were as smart as everybody's saying they are. They just happened to come around and did this crime with a very inexperienced police department, sheriff's department, that had probably on the average 2 years experience. Officers on the beat, probably 10 months experience. It's not a whole lot. Mistakes are going to happen. And this is why they should have had literally the FBI. Nano should have had the FBI asking for help from the very beginning. It is just that simple. Bloom says, good tips, good points. Why say no matching DNA? It just makes no sense whatsoever there, Bloom. Bridget, GMN, Burstone, and Miss V. Good to have you guys. The view you just showed of the house doesn't not look the same as live stream to me. The view you just showed of the house doesn't look the same as live stream to me. That's what it is. It's what it is. It's of the house. Uh, Hi, Miss. Good morning. Not sure what you mean, April. Not clear what you're saying. Okay. Handsome man. Because they don't know how to do a proper DNA, I think. He must eat fast food and only food. Only food. Nanos wants a gold medal, so he decided to deal it until he finds a clue. But nothing. Falls, Hanson, who are you talking to? He's talking to himself. Bridget, Nano seems to be very good at screwing things up. Seems to be his life story. April, I mean, the porch perp video of the entrance doesn't look the same on the live stream. I've got other pictures. That was just a clearer picture. Okay, that was just a clearer picture. Um, so the porch stream is a very clear picture, but it's just at daytime and it's not at the nighttime. You understand what I'm saying? That is, you're talking about this one. That is the front of her house. It's just the side of the house. You're seeing it at daytime if that's what you're referring to. Let's see here. I'm going to try to find another one for you. Now, this rock, this stepway, where remember I told you the blood splatter, the little blood droplings? That's the walkway where they found it, and supposedly it went all the way down. You understand what I'm saying? All the way to the driveway. So it came all the way down to the driveway, is what they're reporting. I don't know if they got any evidence of that or not, or if they even tested it just to make sure. I mean, who knows? Maybe Nancy bit somebody's finger and they bled. You just never know. You always look for anything. Man's Cat, good morning. Listening. Thank you, Man's Cat. Good to have you. April, oh, okay, DD. I thought it was a porch. No, that's just the front of the house. The idea was to show you that some of the around the house is very soft soil or soft sand. And they was definitely should have been some type of footprint left, if you will. Shoe prints. VMS, oh, and it's Pima County. Falls, Lisa. Thank you. So we get back to, because this was asked a lot, everybody. This was asked a lot. And like I said, at the time I looked at it, I thought, well, maybe they did the forensics on it already and they didn't need to take it. But no, they should have taken it, because they would have found a lot more, in my opinion, if they had taken it. Because it never dawned on me the fibers. Every rugs have, unique fibers in it. And when you go into a car and you find these fibers in a vehicle as you're searching through the car, right? And it doesn't match all the rest of the fibers, we got a problem. That's how they detect that something should not be there. Follow me? They have a problem. And that's when they go, oh man, we got this fiber here that we found and we have no clue it doesn't belong here because it's not a part of this car's carpet formats or whatever. Why they call Pima? Because they are the ones in charge of the county. They have to call Pima. That's who answers the calls in that area. Okay. Fall says, ouch. VMS. Elderly lady was kidnapped last night. You know, oh man, another one. I have to look up that story. Man's cat, that is a lot of blood. It really is. And the idea is that when they got that partial footprint, when they got that partial footprint of it, right? They had to have seen literally that this person, perp and or whoever it was, as dark as that is, they had to have stepped into some good amount of blood to leave that dark of a spot. You follow me? And they're also saying that this little part right there, I don't know if you can see right below it, that little line, if you will, that is also a part of the shoe print. They just couldn't tell for sure if it was the front part, the middle part, or the back part of the shoe. That is a lot of blood. Paige, that's insane, VMS. I stayed out until 3 a.m. sitting here nodding off. Bridget, old forensic file episodes, they solved a few complex cases with a fiber from a rug at the scene all the time. It's very unique when the fibers don't belong at the place that you're looking for, right? Look at it from that perspective. If the fibers doesn't belong there because there's no other fibers anywhere around there that have these fibers there, then obviously it's not belonging there. It came from somewhere. Extraterrestrial, this was a special ops case, also paranormal FBI confirmed. Lisa, how we forgot in Nazareth Falls. How was Foghead in Nazareth Falls? Falls awesome. Capture Dandy, it's staged. Well, they talked about that too, Capture Dandy. They talked about if it was possible to stage that. And the individual that I watched by the name of Steve, he is literally a crime scene investigator. He is a CSI. He has literally gone through a lot of those scenarios already. And he said almost impossible for that to be staged because they can't come up with that right mixture of, even if they use a turkey baster to stage the blood splatters or the spud droppings, it wouldn't be the same. Not without the air and everything else. He said it's almost impossible. So, being that he is a crime scene investigator and he was talking about all his cases he has done, I would tend to go with his word. I think he would know a little bit more than at least myself. That's for damn sure. I was also up late with 857. Of course, Nanos probably doesn't want anyone to know since it is still not public knowledge. 60 watching, hit like for DD. Hit that like button. And if you are new and you want to subscribe, subscribe. help us and you become more smarter. Don't forget the like buttons, please. Click that like, get that algorithm going. VMIS, 60 views, 74. Here we go, everybody. So now that's why it's important that they should have took that carpet, that mat, not the carpet, the mat. Now, this picture here was a shot that was taken by Mark the Shark. Okay, this is the back. This one here is a picture taken by Mark the Shark, and you see that right there, that stain on that door, that stain on that mat in front of that door. Okay, I know you can see it. Okay, that stain was answered that they thought that might be possibly blood that had soaked up into that mat. That's right outside of Nancy's bedroom. So the idea was that maybe somehow this rug was used and it like soaked up all this blood. Well, the reality is that that's a lot of blood if that was blood. They don't know. But here's the other thing. Why in the hell did they just take it, bag it, tag it, and then decide, let's check it and see what we find? Now, there wasn't a lot of blood splattered in that whole area. Okay, there wasn't a lot of blood splatter down here. There wasn't any blood splatter that we can see with the naked eye. Okay, so that would probably mean that blood on that mat came from somewhere else, more than likely. More than likely, it came from somewhere else. No doubt about it. Okay, however, that's not a for sure. That's not a for sure. But had they taken that mat, they could have checked it for sure. Who's to say they didn't use that mat inside the house somewhere for some nefarious reason? Okay. And that was soaked up the blood there. And then before they left, they put the mat right out front where it was. Not realizing, because it's night, not realizing how bad it has soaked up. This is something that has puzzled me, says Falls. If there was a struggle, why has it been said that inside the house look pristine? Well, they said that the rooms, several of the rooms looked, as you put it, pristine, that they were nice and neat, tidy. Okay? They did say at the beginning, Ashley Banfield said that her sources told her that there was a lamp that was knocked over, there was a sheet that was missing, and so forth and so forth at the beginning, if you remember. And then later in Megan Kelly's thing, said her sources said that it was just perfectly nice, like it hasn't been touched. But they did say there was a sheet that was missing. Okay, so I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm not sure who's right, who's wrong. I'm just saying that the reality is they should have took it. They should have took it. Now, I can tell you this. It is very possible that somewhere in that house, okay, Nancy fought back. It is very possible that Nancy was fighting back as feisty as she was, and either got struck in the mouth with the weapon, got struck in the mouth with the fist, or literally got struck in the mouth or with the weapon, and also got punched in her stomach that sent her to her all four knees, down to her knees with her hands. That's why you got the blood splatter the way they are outside, right? Maybe she didn't want to leave. Maybe she knew that by her going into whatever vehicle they were going to put her into, maybe she knew this would be the end, and she was fighting for her life. And at that point, somebody uppercutted her in the stomach. She went forward, because that's what they're suspecting, that she was so close, about 12 inches, 12 to 13 inches from the ground, possibly crouched over from the hit, and then started coughing up blood. Now, the reason they were talking about the fact that literally the blood had to have been she had been that close to the ground, okay, was because they were showing how if the face of Nancy, if somebody was carrying her or taking her out of the house, her head would have been up, which means that she couldn't have been, you know, gurgitating any blood from the outside because it's basically going down her throat. So if she was carried out, her head had to be leaning one way or the other because then that would have caused blood to literally be dripping out, right? The idea is that we don't know these things, but a lot of things were missed. No doubt about it. A lot of things were missed. All right, let me read some of these. I am sorry, but I just wanted to get these points out. I hope you all understand. All right, let's see. Falls. This is something that has puzzled me from the beginning. The struggle why he hasn't said, yeah, it's almost like a misinformation that they're giving, right? On one hand, they're saying everything was nice and neat in there. And then on the other hand, they're saying at the beginning, they're saying, no, it wasn't nice and neat. It's like you can't make up this shit, right? Either tell us what it is or what it's not, or don't say nothing at all. Very good point, Falls. Pay says, thank you, Doug, for explaining it all so well to us. You're very welcome, Lisa. Elisa says, good morning. Sorry I'm late. You're good. You're good. No worries. Falls says, I agree. I still think she may have pulled off, and very possible. Very possible. And by her pulling off a mask, that could have been why she said, my God, I can't believe this person's doing this to me. I'm definitely fighting for everything I got left in me. Very possibility, right? It's almost like if you see the person, you go, how dare could you do this to me? Now you're going to fight tooth and nail, especially if you always had your doubts about that individual. If you knew that individual, right? I think you know where I'm going with that. They went to take her out the front and they did something to her, so look her out the back. It's very possible. We don't know which way they went. It all appears like it was the front because of the blood. And they did test the blood, and it is Nancy's blood. So it would, sometimes you got to go wherever the facts are leading you to. Not always, but sometimes you go with the facts. Let the facts paint your picture. Okay? If you start looking at the back and you don't see nothing there, and you don't see they don't have no footprints or anything, well, now you got a problem, right? You got a major problem. Why? Because there's nothing there. It seemed like most all the evidence was in the front. And probably the most crucial evidence, once again, is that carpet, that rug in front of that door with the blood splatter that was there, along with the foliage that the perp had because he was in and out with his mouth light, right? That's DNA, saliva. I agree. I believe she fought. No doubt in my mind she fought back, everybody. No doubt. Especially if she knew who the perp was. They treated Nancy worse than trash. They did. They did. These people, they need to pay for what they've done. No doubt about it. This is upsetting, says Groundsky. We understand. Three more till legal. Three more till legals or three more illegal? I have no idea what you said there. Fall says, cowardly bastards, peeps, perps. Bridget, she could have recognized their eyes when they looked at her. Very possible. Especially if they see this person constantly. Sally Freeze in the house says, do you all suspect the family? Well, the family's definitely not ruled out. That I can tell you. Don't give a shit what Nano says. The family's not ruled out. Fact of the matter, FBI has said no one's ruled out. So, no, I think the family is not ruled out no matter what. Do I suspect the family? The only person that I see fitting in that narrative would be TC because he was the last one to see her. Okay? TC was the last one to see his mother-in-law. And TC, they have no footage of him dropping her off or leaving the scene. That's the only reason I mentioned TC as far as family goes. Just an opinion, not a fact. The blood trail stop is why I think they changed direction, in my opinion. It might have been, Falls. You might be right. You totally might be right. Sally Fresca says, true, Lisa. Nice, Sally. Oh my God, it is Sally Fresca. Breezy, sunny, beautiful. Laughing out loud. EJD says, who knew? Hey, that's the $1,000,000 question. Jenny says, in order for her to cough the blood up, she would have had her mouth, she would have her mouth taped, and therefore she wouldn't scream, and neighbors would have heard her. Blood could have been from another day. Well, the idea that when they got there and they seen the blood, when they got there and they finally recognized that blood, to my understanding, that blood was not coagulated enough to have been sitting there for a while. So therefore, it was almost like freshly, I don't want to say freshly, but it was freshly recent, if you will, for a better lack of words. And then on that foot that stepped on that blood, that was fresh. That was not like something that's been sitting there for long periods of time. So I'm not sure that that really fits that narrative, to be honest. Is it possible? Sure. But the way they explained it, that was all recent, literally recent, to my understanding. In order for her to cough, but I do not believe her mouth was so much covered with tape. I believe she had to have her mouth not covered because and leaning to one side or the other with her head because that's the only way she would have went down. And if you think about it, someone's carrying you and your like head is dangling down and you're turned to one side, you're probably a lot closer to the ground than you would be if somebody had you over their shoulder, right? Over the shoulder is going to put your head a lot higher. On your arms, carrying you out is going to put your head a lot closer to the ground. Do you need a AZ Sunshine's in the house says until there are an arrest, nobody is clear. No doubt about it. That's a fact, AZ. 110%. If you are new to the channel, please click like and subscribe. Be a devil pup in the channel and help everybody get smarter, no doubt. Sally says, listening while I'm making Italian beef sandwiches. Oh, that sounds good. And it's very possible, Handsman, that they were definitely going ahead and they were talking and she recognized the voice. Very possible. Makes sense. You don't get it. You don't get it. Oh, okay. All righty. Sorry I don't make sense, but I'll put my resume against anybody's resume. Let's just say that, ED. Listening while it's making a time. Well said, Azansan. I agree. Yeah, no doubt about it. That is for sure. I agree with that as well. Sally, nope. Spot on. Just preparing. False. April says, you would think that the mat being the closest to the blood that they would have tagged and taken for DNA. No doubt about it, Falls. That's a no-brainer. That's a total mishap, big time. Total mishap. And for anyone not to point that out and say, hey, we better take this or we need to bag this and tag it, is a crucial mistake amongst that whole department, in my opinion. No doubt about it. Well said, April. You got it, Paige. How many people do you think were involved, says Handsome Man? I think it was at least at minimum, in my opinion, minimum of three. Could be as much as four, but not too many more than that because too many people tend to bring down whatever plans a person would have. It's just too many people that know causes too many speculations of who could have been the leaker. So yeah, I would say probably no more than three, maybe four at the most, but no less than three. I would say three, to be honest. Manskid, I do think her hands were restrained. I see bright red and dark red blood. Looks like at least DT clot was coughed out. Deep wound, not good. I think you're right, Manscat. I think that's a very possibility, no doubt about it. Lisa, a small group, in my opinion. Nothing. Soren Energy says nothing. All DD. You watch Lou last night when he read the article about them finding things in Colorado of Nancy. I don't know Lou. Who's Lou? That's not what he read an article about the finding things in Colorado of Nancy. I'm not sure, Soren Energy. I watched a few things, but I'm not sure what those few things. Yeah, I'm not really sure, to be honest, Soren Energy. Marianne, good morning, Didi and Chad. Lisa Page, Max. I think three people were involved in this kidnapping. That's about right, no doubt about it. Very, very probable. April, welcome in, everyone. Thanks for supporting DD. Manscat, at least one clot. Sorry, oops. No problem. That's a possibility. The fact of the matter, some have even suggested that she was punched in the gut, in the stomach, and that caused her to bend over, to like hunch over. When you take an uppercut to the midsection, you go ahead and hunch over, and as she hunched over, she was on her knees, literally, with her hands like almost like her hands holding about 12 to 13 inches from the ground, and that's how many were able to establish that blood pattern. They didn't all agree on to what extent, but they did agree that about 70 of about most of them all agreed with each other 70%. There was just a minor few things that each one saw just a tad bit different. I just need that soaring, and they found an abandoned SUV. Going back to a previous person question. Oh wow, I did not know that. Sleuth intuition. Okay, all right. I'll definitely go ahead and look at that. Is that the last one that he did? The last live? Soaring Energy. Is that the last live Sleuth did? Because if it is, I'll go ahead and watch that. Or send me an email with that link, and I'll go ahead and watch it. I also believe they have dug a grave earlier for her to be placed before kidnapping. I don't think so. In my opinion, I don't see that, Handsome. I don't see that because of the fact that I don't think this was literally like her being taken to off her. Okay, I think this is all about money. And if you're going to think you're going to get money for a ransom, okay, a kidnapping for ransom, then you're going to have to show a proof of life. So there was no, I don't think there was ever a thought of doing a grave. It was supposed to be maybe a 1, 2, 3 day thing. Give us the money, we give you back the mom. I think that's what it was. But what ended up happening is something went wrong in that process at the very beginning that caused her to become unalive. And at that point, everything, all plans changed, everything went chaos, in my opinion. But hey, we're all entitled to our opinion, no doubt. Just just walking up, Sleuth Intuition read an article. They found Nancy's fitness tracker and other things in an abandoned SUV in Colorado. I did not see that, but thank you. Send it to me. Send it to me. Can you send it to me? Because I'll watch it if you send it to me. I would really appreciate that, Soren. Less live and towards the middle. I'll check it out. You don't need to send it to me. I'll look at his last one and check it out. Thank you so much for that info. I appreciate that. Soren Energy on top of it. Ah, Semper Fi, my brother. Oh, and or sister. They're talking DNA and they have DNA to the person that hasn't been named. Interesting. I'm going to definitely go look at that. Falls. I hope it's true and this puzzle starts coming together. No doubt. There is my email, everybody. If you got a message or you got a question, you can send it to my email. Jenny, where is Cameron from? I thought he was from the East Coast. I thought it was like over there in Rhode Island, Delaware, Connecticut, somewhere out there. Up north, northeast somewhere. I heard the report of the abandoned SUV with items that belong to Nancy. I'm definitely going to look at that. No doubt about it. And this is just all new information, Soaring Energy and Bridget. Do you think Nancy had a fitness tracker on her? I don't know, Marianne. I would probably say not, being that she couldn't really do any fitness type of agilities. But it is possible, but I don't think so, to be honest. Vermont, thank you very much, Falls. Appreciate you. Soaring Energy. And the fitness tracker supposedly had Nancy's heart rate on it from when she was kidnapped. But that sounded quite crazy to me because she didn't wear it on a watch. Right. Marianne, Vermont, thank you so much. Appreciate you, Marianne. Lisa Page, but the Uber did pick her up. That is true. Reality is last proof of life is Nancy is the Uber going to A&T. Do we know anything else after she was dropped off? Only that A&T said they did at their house. Well, A&T sounds like AT&T. A&T stated that A was the one that dropped Nancy off from their house that night at 9:48, somewhere in there, 10 o'clock, 9:48. So that came out of his mouth. That's what he told Pima County. So if that's the case, then he would have been the last one to see her other than the perps alive. Because he stated he dropped her off. Now, if he's going to put himself in that line of fire that I dropped her off when he didn't, well, then, yeah, they're going to have to show some proof. But guess what? We haven't seen any videos of literally T dropping off his mother-in-law and or leaving the scene. Sorry, here says the interesting part about the Colorado connection is it wasn't that the first place that was mentioned about where the Google search came from, about how much money Savannah makes or something like that. That's interesting. I am going to check that out, Soren Energy. No doubt about it. Paige. Maybe she never left before being taken. Maybe she never left. That could be very possible. Blood. That could be very Bloom. That could be very, very possible. It could be very possible that she never made it home either, to be honest. Very, very possible. Bridget, yes, I heard the report of the abandoned SUV was items that belong to Nancy. I am going to have to check that out. Marianne, do you think Nancy had a fitness tracker on her? I don't know, Marianne. I wish I did. I just don't. He lived in Vermont, soaring, and the fitness tracker supposedly, I think we covered that. Uber. Bridget, yes, first heard about it yesterday. Okay, interesting. I will check it out. Soaring Energy will do. Page. Manx. Camera lives in Virginia. Says Soaring Energy. I thought he lived out in Vermont. I thought it was in the Northeast. Unless he moved. Interesting. Lisa, can't believe no cameras at Annie's on and Tom's house. No doubt about it. How do you not have any footage of literally of T taking her home and leaving? How is there no footage of that? You got footages of the perp in the front door. You got footages of cars going by in the front road where Nancy lived, but you have no footage of TC dropping her off and leaving. Makes no sense to me. That's why I can't rule the family out, specifically him, in my opinion. Camera supposedly resides in Vermont, not Virginia, says Shiny Little Objects. Tommaso has a sneaky look and walk, says Tarek. I agree with that, no doubt. Marianne, I just looked it up and he lives in Vermont. Thank you, Marianne. Appreciate that fact check. Tarek, good morning. Good morning, Tarek. If you are new and you like the live, please subscribe. Work with us and help us all become smarter together. Who is Cameron? That is the brother of Savannah and of Annie, son of Nancy. Lisa, Cam is Nancy's son. Tarek, thank you. You're very welcome. Lisa Page, welcome. Tarek, so Nancy had 4 children. She had 3. She had Cameron, who was in the military, in the Air Force, was a pilot, in the National Guard. He also had Annie, and he had Savannah. She had Savannah. That's it. Just 3. All right. Thank you, Tarek. Appreciate you, my friend. Appreciate you. Thank you for coming back. Bridget, someone on Annie's street should have a camera showing that car. You would think, but it doesn't seem like Tommaso. It doesn't seem like Nanos was in any hurry to find any footage of him, which makes no sense. That's worrying, Sam. No doubt. Thank you for being here. Tarek, that's right. Tommaso is the son-in-law. That is correct. You got it, Tarek. Paid, Bridget, 100%. See, so the idea, getting back, if they had these fibers, just go back and look and think about what they could have found in that white or silver Range Rover of Luke Daly's. They could have found fibers when they were checking it if they knew what the hell they were looking for, if they had the carpet that they took and extracted fibers from, and try to compare those and see if cars had those fibers in the trunk and or in the back seat, right? It's just common sense. If they had done that, it's very possible that they could have found something. Maybe, maybe not, but you'll never know now, right? And yet the carpet still stays there in front of that door with the blood splatter that's there. Makes makes literally no sense whatsoever to me. Some of Annie Street should have a camera showing their car. The worrying Sam. That's worrying Sam. You got it. Peace. Tarek. Those homes are kinds of far apart. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Even if she did scream, I doubt that the neighbors would have heard it. Well, don't forget, you had that lady that was screaming on that other road that was screaming for help, and someone actually heard it and called 911 and described the vehicle. So I mean, it's plausible, no doubt about it. Bridget, Lisa, thank you. Lisa Page, LE says camera are too far from the road. Laughable. Well, very laughable, but because they showed pictures of cars passing down the road. Literally, remember that white Kia Soul? I mean, they showed pictures of cars passing down the road in front of Nancy's house, so that's laughable, no doubt. Welcome, B. Capture, they don't have any evidence. Lisa makes no sense, does it? I'm sure Tommaso was questioned about dropping her off. Well, no doubt. That I mean that's you're the last person to see her, and you said you dropped her off. I just don't know why there was no footage. It makes no sense to me. But you're right, Tarek. Paige, agree, April. Soaring energy. There's no way Nancy wore a fitness tracker on her. One on her. I watched that they told us her. I watched behind the house. How could they have find her fitness tracker in the SUV? Very true. Lisa, I believe FBI knows, but it's straightening their case. And it very well could be, Lisa. No doubt about it. They could already have that perp right in their sights, and they're just waiting to go ahead and get that final piece together. Capture, it was too dark. You still would have seen the headlights. You would have seen the tail lights, Capture, of Tommaso leaving and pulling in. It was so dark. That's just a no-brainer. Glenna, to be honest, this is a hot mess of a case. Sad. It is, Glenna. It is. No doubt. Without no doubt. April, Didi, with your experience, who should have been questioned right away? First person that should have been questioned was obviously Tommaso. He was the last person to see her. Then the second next person would have been the Uber driver. He should have been questioned. And then after that, the family, the rest of the family. Then after the rest of the family, they should have literally started to work their case and looked at people who lived close by who had a criminal record. People like Luke Daly. I say that because he has a criminal record, in my opinion. You go down the line and then you start hitting all these other people that we have talked about already. The fact of the matter is, you always start with the person who last seen him because 92% of the time, someone who is kidnapped of that age, 92% of the time, it's somebody that deals with the family or knows the family. You can't beat those odds, guys. Even in Vegas, you can't beat those odds. April, that's how you start it, and then you build from there, and you start to go and you start to pick it apart. Each person, who was Tommaso associated with, who was so and so associated with. Break them all down, and you just keep working it until you find out who is telling you the untruths, and then those are the people you start to literally put aside in the category, and those are the ones you're going to hit hard. But thank you for that question. I appreciate that, April. Nanos dropped the ball from day one. Handsome, Glenna. Like to send a hot mess. Paige, Terry, that always questions and friends first. They always question family. Absolutely, no doubt about it, Terry. That's a fact. Especially the last person to see her. That's the first one you go to, and you literally pump that in for information like no other. because that's your main source of what could have happened after that. That's just how it's played. Soaring Energy, did anybody watch Nancy Grace Friday when she said she was talking about any passing out the map of how she thought the perp left the area? No, I heard about that, but I never seen that, to be honest, Soren. I've heard about her passing out what she thought maybe the perp had gone, how the route he took, but I've never actually seen it. Paige, missed it. Terry, sorry, no, I missed that. Glenna, thank you. Marianne, I think if Kayla was saying anything about Nancy, that would be questionable. That would be questioning someone. Yes, I agree. I agree. Miss Lisa, hope all is well with you. It is great. Glenna, Barney Fife, he sure did. No doubt. They screwed up big time as far as I'm concerned. The more I'm getting more into the case, there's definitely some issues there. Thank you, Glenna, says Paige. Glenna always. Tarek, I have my doubts about Tommaso. Yeah, I mean, he's the last person to see her. There is some affiliation with some other people that we have found. So nothing's off the table at this point, to be honest. No doubt about it. The case will never be solved because Nano spoiled it from day one. He should be charged for inconsistencies and put for trial in court. Well, I mean, there's no crime that you can charge somebody for inconsistencies. There's no crime for that. I'm sorry, uh, but they could just get rid of them. And if you found anything that he did to hide this case, then yes, that guy should be paid the price. But yeah, that's how that works. He should definitely be fired for sure. Tarek, Nanos left all the people walk on the evidence at the front entrance. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. They had no one, literally no one, like right when they found out that she was most likely abducted. That's when, because you're not going to do that when she just gone missing, okay? But as soon as they determined she has gone, literally, like gone, like someone took her, they should have wrapped that crime scene all around her property line. Literally, I don't care if it took 5 rows. They should have wrapped it all around and let nobody in front of the house. I would have blocked that off for nobody but residents who lived nearby that needed to get through. I wouldn't have allowed anybody to come through. I would have never took that chance, in my opinion. No, that's not my opinion. My opinion is, my fact is, I would have never let anybody come through there. Period. He did, though. DD is a former law enforcement. His experience speaks volume. Get the word out. Share with other streamers and chatters. Match, much appreciated. Thank you so much, April. Appreciate that. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you all. Thank you all for being here. You guys are what makes the channel better, no doubt about it. Terry, there are the area should have been sealed off immediately. No doubt about it, Terry. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. 110%, my friend. That map was out a while ago. It was because JLR and Nico drove his route. Right, because they got it from somebody that gave it to. She gave it to a neighbor, I believe, and JLR was talking to one of the neighbors, and they gave it to him, and then he went ahead and went that route. I remember him driving that route. Bridget, all kinds of people came up to that front door the first 3 days. YouTubers have it on video showing people walking up. to the front door, everywhere from delivery drivers. Now I'm adding this from delivery drivers, uh, door dashers, pizza delivery, you name it. Freaking, yeah, Amazon. Everybody was coming there. That was just a farce. Talk about dropping the damn ball. That was a major drop. Tarek, Bridget, they even had a pizza delivered to the front door. Exactly. Talk about contamination of evidence. I mean, it's just unheard of. It's just unheard of. I mean, I think that if I had been out there the first day, probably after the first couple hours, I would have realized something's not right. I would have literally posted maybe a couple officers out there to not let anybody on the property, to not let no one on the property. I would have, tried to stay a certain course pattern, maybe lay out some walkway sheets of some sort, not sheets, but maybe some type of you know panels of some sort, so that everybody would walk that main areas around those panels until they got an idea of what they were looking for and what they were dealing with. Terry, changing computers. Be right back. You got it, buddy. I looked like a clown. It looked like a clown show. It did. It did. But that's because you had people with only 10 months experience. You know what I mean? I mean, how do we expect anybody with just that little bit of experience literally make the right decisions? And just for the record, I do say literally a lot. So I literally say it a lot. That's just how I roll. Bridget, it looked like a clown show. Paige is laughing upside down. That's the whole thing, though. I mean, that's the whole nut in a nutshell. As soon as I knew who it was, it would have been like CSI. No way, 10 months. Oh my, no doubt, no doubt, absolutely. As soon as if I was the sheriff and this had happened, no brainer. I would have contacted my nearest big law enforcement agency to see if they had anybody to spare in that type of field, forensics and whatnot. And I would have contacted the FBI and said, as soon as you guys can get over here, I need your assistance. I really truly need your assistance, and I need your help in this one. But when that's what happens when you have too much pride and your ego is too big, you tend to think that I don't need anybody's help. We can solve it until you can't, and then instead you end up screwing everything up, or at least hampering for the best. You end up hampering the case. They were acting like they were just hired into the department, no experience. Yeah, pretty much almost was. 10 months is not a long time, everybody. 10 months is not a long time. Understand, we all have to learn, and we all have to, learn. And everybody is there's a learning curve and a learning process, but not in a case like this. You just don't do that in a case like this. It is too important. But here's the thing: the only thing that's going to look bad is that whole department, the people who work there, and the sheriff. They're going to look like, you know, the bad news bears of law enforcement. And the ones who get hurt is the family. Let's count on many times DD says literally. Stop it. I already told you guys I used that word. It was an older brother thing that always said to me, and it just stuck with me. Literally. You guys are funny. Let's count. Stop it. Glenna, you got it, DD. And Barney Fife is most definitely feeling like he knows it. All his head is so big. I don't know how he fits through his through his shirts. Nanos and the others are horrible at training. They are. I mean, I would say they probably don't have any FTO trainers. No doubt about it. for all you FTOs, our field training officers, I don't think they have any of those. Probably never heard of any of those there. They never talked about any of those. And those would be people that would be under the gun too, because their lack of training is what hurt the other officers from learning what they were supposed to do. Help find the truth, says Groundsky. Marianne, Lisa Page, hello. Do you think it's a cold case net? No, Tarek. It takes at least about 3 years before they'll make it a cold case. 3 years. This will not be a cold case, not until 3 years are up. That's usually the minimum standard. So I don't see that. I don't see that happening. Something's gonna give. Something's gonna give. Someone's gonna slip up. I mean, we're seeing little cracks here and there, things that are leaking out, things that are happening. It's gonna happen. Do you think it's a cocaine? Marianne, Lisa Page, it's under the weather today. I'm under the weather today. If I were to come train hell, they would be terrified of me. I've done it before. I have trained FTOs. I have literally trained as an FTO officer to officers, and I get it. It's like almost the next step of patrol officers, right? You got your FTOs, your corporals, you got your sergeants, your lieutenants, your captains, your patrol commanders, detectives, your assistant chiefs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Go on and on and on. And whatever position they want to make. No doubt about it. Lisa, hope you feel better soon. Likewise, Lisa. Glenda says absolutely 100%. I mean, it's a no-brainer, guys. It's really a no-brainer. You know? And yet, to see everything that has happened in this case is so sad, so pathetic. Um, like I said, I don't like criticizing other law enforcement agencies because that's just not my cup of tea. But I will tell you that the more I have seen and the more I have watched and the more this thing with this carpet has really baffled me. At first, like I said, I thought, well, maybe they already checked it. We don't really know, but no. You're talking about this front doormat next to this blood splatter that should have been taken and put in a brown paper sack, tagged and bagged, and it should have been literally ran. And it should have been checked for what kind of fibers are on it and made of, so that way they could, when they check other vehicles of potential suspects, they could literally match to see if those fibers are in that car. And if those fibers are not made of what is in that car, then you know you have a problem, big time. Absolutely 100%. That's the one thing is beyond, no doubt. April, Tarek, thank you for being here. Amen, Tarek. Appreciate you, my friend. Tarek, welcome. Lisa, being former LE, you must be beside yourself, dog. It's yeah, I mean, I get it. People make mistakes, but missing and not taking evidence like that is just it's just unheard of. I mean, it's just unheard of. It's just, but once again, you don't have a well respected sheriff, and you definitely don't have a seasoned officers. So what do we think we're going to get? And in this case, what do they think they're going to get? But yes, Lisa, you're totally right. 110%. My heart goes out to Nancy. I do believe she probably gave them a big fight. No doubt, Bridget. No doubt. No doubt that literally Nancy went ahead and gave it back to him as much as she could. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And talking about the blood, didn't Brian Enton find it a few days later? Well, he didn't find it. He didn't find it. They found it. He saw it there, but he's not the one that found it. Um, but he brought light to it as far as to the news uh, uh, people, if you will. But they found it later, and they were not, and it's wasn't like they found it months later. They found it, they didn't see it at first. It was reported they didn't see it the very first morning. But then that's why that's why it wasn't talked about a whole lot until the next day. And then they started putting the pieces when this could have been nefarious. When it started to look like there was a nefarious situation, when there was something that literally looked like it went wrong, like this was a kidnapping, not someone just walked away, not, in their sleepwalking or whatever. Well, as soon as they determined that and they started looking, that's when they found it. And I think that was the day later, the next day. Yeah, they didn't find it the first day because the whole first time they arrived, they weren't even looking at it being a kidnapping. They were looking at it as in, she must be missing. It must be missing. And it took the family to call Nanos and tell him, no, she wouldn't have not just went out walking and got lost out there. Our mom can't do that. She's not healthy enough to do that. And it took a lot of convincing and pressuring for Nanos to say, okay, this may have been something that Nancy was taken out of her free will, against her free will. But yeah, something to that effect. And you know what, Soren, you may be right too. I mean, but I don't think Brian Enton is the one that discovered it. No, not a doubt. April, Glenna, have a great day. Marianne, yes, Soren. Bye, Glenna. Have a good one. Glenna, you take care. It was great having you here. Thank you so much for being here. Godspeed and God bless. Man, so much fake news. Thanks for checking it out. Try to do our best, everybody. We try to do our best. So, with the porch guy and the camera situation, why would all that happen? If he entered from the back, he could have just opened the front door from the side and grabbed the camera around the corner. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's very interesting. Sorry, no doubt about it. Um, Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they had a plan that they just said this was their best option, but I think everything went south when she became unalived. No doubt about it. That's fine, Marianne. Brian reported it. Good. Tarek, Nano's definitely unqualified. That's a for sure. Capture. Paid. Soaring. Very good question. No doubt. Very good question. So that's what we're looking at. That's what's happened. The fact of the matter is that the idea of them not taking that rug is just, yeah, it goes without saying. Growski says, I always that damn front door, no doubt. Man's cat, I don't listen to Nanos anymore. I listen to Dee and this chat more authentic. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, Man's cat. Lisa, me too, Gronsky, and Soaring. The faithful servant. Good morning, all. Good morning, the faithful servant. Glad you're here. Mance, Terry, and aren't they even willing? And aren't they still waiting for results from DNA? They are, Terry. They are. They're supposedly still waiting. It was that last DNA that they had that they got back from Nano sending it to Florida, and then they got it. Quantico got it in Virginia, and then they had to send it out to be tested by I think a company in San Francisco who has that technology. AZ says, peace. Pima County Sheriff's Department is at such a disadvantage with the non-leadership we have. I'm close by Nancy Guthrie. I called to make a report. Someone cut phone cable communication wires to my home. I'm still waiting for an officer 3 years later. Wow, that's a long time, my friend AZ. Holy moly. Paula, I think porch guy was never supposed to go to the front door. He's about to knock. He was about to knock and then notice the camera. Mance, right back at you, Lisa and April. Lisa, wow. It's just crazy when you think about it, everybody. When you think about how they have literally blundered this, it's beyond me, in all honesty. It is really beyond me. I mean, you know, to idea that you would not take this evidence, any evidence. AZ, that's crazy. It just baffles me. But I say this about the blood in the carpet because the fibers, because they did check Luke Daly's Range Rover, right? How did they get anything? Did they get any fibers? Were they even looking at any fibers? Or did they think there was going to be an unalive body on the passenger seat? You know, I mean, that's how idiotic it makes it seem. Like they were expecting to see an unalive body in the passenger seat of the silver Range Rover. My Lord, it's pathetic. Meaning it was made and given to us to run us around like crazy people. And it did its job, no doubt about it. Lisa Bay says, Paula, welcome. So yeah, that's the whole caboodle in a nutshell. When I hear you, Didi, and all of the retired allies talk about their opinions about the porch guy, they can't believe it. They cannot make no sense of it. Yeah, I've heard it from a lot of my peers as well, Soren, and I'm saying the same thing. It just makes no sense, you know. I mean, it just makes no sense. I can't even explain it because it makes no sense. It's ridiculous. It's the one thing. I mean, it's almost like showing up to a unaliving case and the body's laying at the front door and you have a gun laying next to, someone wearing a gun, and he tells you, I don't know what happened, and his gun has smoke coming out of the chamber, and he's saying, I don't know what happened. This guy just was laying here. It's one of those type of things like, are you kidding me? But that to me, that is how it is when you're looking at literally evidence that is not taken. It just baffles the mind. And I'm being facetious, but I mean I'm just being honest. Well, they're saying this. They're saying the same thing. They don't. They don't. They think it's crazy. They don't know how this happened. How did this? How these things were not done. How do you not do these things? And obviously experience matters, and that's something that you cannot buy. That's nothing you cannot go ahead and acquire. You have to literally go through the process of learning about trials and tribulations to gain that experience. 41 minutes inside, they have one hair going to DNA. And it's not even a piece of hair that has the DNA part in it, right? It's a piece of hair that doesn't even have the root to it. Because that's where they get all their information from, is the root. Okay, that's why the FBI got it, and now the FBI has sent it to, I think it's almost positive it's San Francisco, where they do a lab where now labs, they have the tools to actually decipher hair without the root. Because in the past, if they had hair without the root, they couldn't do anything with it. Now they can. Paige, Paula, I apologize. The other day I was rude and disrespectful. Growski, April, I saw that, and that guy is just nuts. That is true, Growski. Bridget, I still work under it. There's any truth about Nanos and Tommaso being friends. That's what I heard. That's what I have been hearing, should I say. Nanos is showing Tommaso some leniency, no doubt about it. Marianne, no, April, I didn't. I really don't watch him anymore. Who is that, Marianne? Who don't you watch anymore? If you don't mind me asking. Paula, no worries, Lisa. Soaring energy. So as we talk about coincidence, oh my lord, that's the most horrible word in this case. Coincidence. So as we talk about soaring energy, says as we talk about coincidence, there's no coincidence. Have there's no coincidence here. We see what is one hair, 41 minutes, crazy video. None of it makes sense. Two doors propped open. It just got crazier and crazier. And you're exactly 100% right, Soren Energy, no doubt. Terry, the technology is amazing. It is. And it's only getting more better and better. Soren just seems like all a setup for what reason? I have no idea. You and most of us, my friend. Thank you, P. Paula, I agree, Soren. Too many coincidences. That's a coincidence that lasts us all a lifetime, no doubt. AZ, so the hair, it's probably going to belong to someone who has reason to be in the house, like all the fingerprints, DNA, etc. And you might be right, AZ. That's why I'm not holding my breath, because you may be right. It may come back to be somebody who was supposed to be there. Makes no sense. No sense whatsoever. Soaring 100%. Lisa, agree with you. Nanos likes to gamble. Fact makes him susceptible to manipulation. Someone got to him. Very possible. It's very possible. Gambling can be a very addicting. Can be very addicting, no doubt about it. Soaring energy, and if some sort of Wiccan black magic is involved, then this is Sigil Sigilin magic. I'm not sure what the hell that means, Sigilin. But hey, I'll take your word for it, Soren. Marianne, 857, thank you. Appreciate that. Lisa Page, I believe Annie did it. It's very possible. Very possible. I mean, yeah, you just don't know, but yeah, that's a good point. And TC covered it up, in my opinion. Very possible, Paige. That is very possible. April, I forgot the new, I forgot the name, Marion, of him, but he was weird. Terry, I heard Annie's poetry is very dark. It is. Everything she does, it seems like it's dark, to be honest. I pray I'm wrong. Oh, I hear you, Paige. That faithful servant says Savannah G was in the Gothic in high school as well as her sister. Yeah, I did not know that. That was interesting. I heard that the other day, and I think it was from you. And that kind of was like, what? Caught me attention. I even thought when I heard them speak, it was like Annie's poem, says April. Carolina girl. Paige, if I'm wrong, I will apologize. That's all you need to do. No doubt about it. It's all we all need to do. If we're wrong, hey, I'm sorry, But just looked like everything was pointing that direction to me. That's how I see it. So yeah, evidence very crucial. If there's anything you know about law enforcement, evidence is so crucial when you're working a crime case or of any case for that matter that deals with evidence. Let me see what I miss here. I have thought the same thing about her, Lisa, says Bridget. Not saying goth is bad, just odd. It is. It is. I mean, it's not my cup of tea, that's for damn sure. Terry, I'm surprised there has been no press conference. Yeah. I think they're afraid of other things that the people are going to ask and want to know why they didn't do X, Y, and Z, and they don't want to be confronted. Is the real reason, to be honest. Savannah still goth. Go to Getty Images and check out how much black she has worn throughout time. April, any news on plant stealer? Anyone has heard nothing. I haven't heard anything. Honestly, I haven't even heard anything. No one. I just haven't heard anybody talk about it either, other than when we went over it that one time. Like it was sending a message. Paige, I already knew not to drink, but I did anyway. Got you. Terry, how old is Savannah? Probably about what? 52, 53, something like that. I'm not quite sure, but I think it's like 52, 53, maybe even 54. 52. There you go. Thank you for that info. Appreciate you. Thank you, my faithful servant. The faithful servant says 857. What about it? Oh, I'm sorry, 52. Lisa, I'm equaling Annie's religious beliefs similar to love valor, but I don't know. Sushine, Terry, Tarek Nanelsberry blurred yesterday. Someone knows what happened, and we know somebody knows. If you know something, call up. This was a very big statement on what we know. Terry, thank you, faithful. Soaring. DD, I will send you this link. Was watching it today, the night she said he was talking about Savannah getting involved somehow on NBC, stuck in the channel in a middle of the broadcast. Sounds good. Thank you so much, Soren. I appreciate it, my friend. Paula says she's 54. Paige, I just wanted to stop my emotion pain. Thanks, Paula. Was a guest. Paige, but I made it worse. Terry, DD, what state are you in? Ohio, Tarek, Ohio. I am in Ohio. Marianne, a lot of I wear a lot of black. Am I not gothic? You might be. You might be, Marianne. Uh, hey, I like black, and I'm sure some other people like black. They just don't like seeing their ass hang out, you know? Click that like, everybody. Do me that favor. Click that like. Click that like. Click the hearts. Click the emojis. Let's get that algorithm going. Click that like. Do me that favor. Just helps our algorithm. Gets more people in here. Mannix, thanks. Derek, thank you. There is the email to my email address. Marianne54. Me too, Mary. Especially black jeans for decades. Hello, all from Florida, says Tiger. Good to have you, Tiger. Wouldn't happen to be Tiger Woods, would it? Marianne, I just looked her up and it says 54. Tiger. Mary Ann's in the house, Molly. Mannix, I was goth in the 80s. Paula Grant. Paula Grant says, I remember that goth was getting popular in the early 90s. Yes, it was. Soaring Energy, Savannah and Annie and Cameron said they don't rest until they have Nancy back with her. That's awesome. Tiger, not hardly. April, big group today. Lots of conversation. Amen. You guys are the bomb. No doubt about it. Sorry they wouldn't rest till they had Nancy back with them. At Savannah's at work, and they never searched for her. Lisa, drinking alcohol is not the answer for me ever. Good choice. I oopsied. Well, we're caught up, everybody. But that's how we roll, man. That's how this channel goes. We try to give you the best, try to, make sense of everything and let people speak their minds and state their theories, and hopefully we're able to figure it out somewhere down that road, They know who it is waiting for them to mishap. That is a very possibility, no doubt about it, my friend. Agree, Tiger, 100%. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to think that they don't know or to think that they have no clue. I mean, damn, it's only been, what, 92 days now? You can't make this up, everybody. Oh, sorry, excuse me. One of them early mornings. So, yeah, for all you who said, why was it the carpet taken? You were absolutely right. Or the floor mat outside, that floor mat should have been taken. Brown bag. Brown bag special should have happened. Tiger says DNA won't help this. Someone talking will. I don't know, faithful. Man, Max. Lisa, you are good. Enjoy sobriety. Lisa, agree, Tiger. The faithful servant says, oh, both property taxes have been paid. Checked yesterday. April says, faithful, I have it. Sorry. Faithful, I heard it's off the staff list of the school he worked in somehow. somewhere. So you're saying Tommaso's off the staff list? Thank you very much, says Lisa. AZ, I do love and respect in the chat. No doubt about it. You guys are amazing. No doubt about it. Lisa, me too, AZ. Lisa Page, DD88 keeps it real. I try, everybody. I try to make sense. I try to keep it as I would like someone to explain it to me. And I try to let everybody speak their mind so we can hear everybody's view and opinion. Hell, it may change our own view, you know? It may change what we think. Much love to all of you. Hey, and I was going to put a video out yesterday just to say real quick that I wanted to thank all of you. I'll just tell you straight up. I wanted to thank everybody in the channel, all the mods, all the past mods, everybody who contributes and brings knowledge to the table. Without you guys, we wouldn't be strong. We wouldn't be who we are. And I'm thankful for every one of you. I appreciate you. I love you all in God's name. You guys are amazing. And, just know that I really do, in my heart, I do appreciate every one of you. You guys do a magnificent job. And I thank you for being on this live and just helping us grow and spread the word. I really do. So with that, rather than going ahead and doing a video, I want to just get that off my chest. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you all. Now let's keep going. DD8 keeps it real. AZ, occasionally I mess up in chat. We all do, Lisa. None of us are perfect. Everybody is upset until arrest is made. That is fact, Tiger. Lisa, amen. I don't know. Lisa says with the emoji. I don't know. I love that emoji. Yes, Tiger. April, we keep it respectful here, welcoming all opinions in chat. Amen. Tiger, nobody is clear. That's banana nana. It's sad. He is sad, no doubt. Paid Barney Fife all over again. Jody, good morning, listening. Good to have you, Jody. Thank you for being here. Manscan, aha, Barney Fife. Deegan, hello there. How is it going? Paula says, what if Tommaso dropped off Nancy and never left? He had a lot of time to stage the crime scene, and clean up before Porch Guy came to his mother's house or to remove her. Yeah, it's possible. Very possible. I don't think anything's off the table, to be honest. Jody, nice chat about evidence. Thank you, Jody. I appreciate that. Lisa, we love you here. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. AZ, I have deep opinions living here in the shit show of the case and hearing others' local opinions, and people get ugly if they disagree. So this is refreshing. You got it, Art Z. You got it. We're here. We're like this all the time. Lisa, yes, Barney. Lisa, I love you back, April. Tiger, so true. Glenna actually came up with Barney Tiger. We can all agree to disagree. Amen. April, good morning, Paula, TJ. I I'm here to get I'm here to get okay, Tiger. Tegan says, I'm here to get smarter. I need all the help I can get. You and me too, my friend. Me too. Tiger and Joy has their own. Everyone has their own. Everybody has their own opinions. Amen. Glenna is chatter here. Paula, Tegan, Jody. I still on LD. It was so convenient. He got a new vehicle. I just hope aggressively. I just hope aggressively. Okay, DT. The faithful servant says Luke's D mother purchased this car. Go figure. How is that kid ever going to turn into a man? I don't know. I don't know how that works. Whew. But that was good. That was a good information. No doubt about it. Evidence is crucial. When you are investigating, the number one thing you're looking for is evidence. There is nothing more important than evidence. You can have everything else you want, but if you have no evidence, you have nothing. AZ says, Paula, this is deep gut of mine. Grelsky, Luke's mom must have eyes. Must have money. Tiger PC6. Everybody will be shocked when this is solved. No doubt about it, Tiger. April. Luke's mother purchased a car from Zach, which makes Zach a player info. Interesting. The faithful servant says, and details. Cameron 7377. Zach in Suez. Zach is in. Zach is in Suez, Missouri. He better head to the mountains, no doubt. Live page for the new people. Our main suspects are TCD and RN, I think. Yeah, I think they're all three major players, no doubt. Well said, Lisa. Life page for the new people. Our main suspects are TCLD at 1. Zach was in Jordan since 2019, and Zach, April, absolutely many, many players in the game. The faithful servants, yes, Lisa. Manscan, Zach says he was in Jordan near recipe. Need receipts. Eyes are going bad. Tiger cannot needs to let us investigate. Cannot needs to let us investigate this. My dog would be better job than mine. Tiger, Nano. Oh, I took care of what I had. Cannot need let. Okay, Zach says he was in Jordan. Cannot cannot needs to let us investigate this. My dog would be a better job than him, no doubt. No doubt, my friend. Nanos, Tiger, FBI has it under control. Deal, what's that? DDI can really keep up myself, but how awesome to have you all here. This is awesome, guys. You guys are amazing. Paula, you okay, DD? Yes, I'm fine. Just hard to see sometimes. Kathy Willis. Hey, what's going on, Kathy Willis? Lisa Page, great discussion as always. Thank you so much, Paige. Sleuth Fairy, happy Sunday, D Dog. Happy Sunday there, Sleuth Fairy. Sunshine, AZ Sunshine says LD's mother is counselor of some sort here in Tucson. Tiger, they are behind because of nanos. Tarek, DD, did you get enough sleep last night? I don't think so. I don't think so, my friend, but I'm trying. I'm trying. Everyone is stressed out and tired. It's just the fact that I'll be honest, guys. I read a lot when it comes to this case, and I try to process every little element, and sometimes it's hard, to like other people have said, you're up late trying to figure it all out, trying to make sense, and then you only may get a little fraction of what you're looking for. And like I was looking last night, I was also looking up uh, Kayla Noel Day and finding out, what her whole thing was and her deal is, and looking at the Instagram, because I just opened an Instagram now, and so checking that with people of interest. And man, I tell you, it's just you spend a lot of time, and yeah. Tarek says, laughing out, your dog. Yeah, little dog Claire. She's out there. Look, she's by the windowsill. See her? She's laying there all happy. Yeah, that's Claire. All right, let's see where we're at. Sleuth. Salute, Lisa Page. Page says, thank you for all your info, AZ. Absolutely. Well needed. YouTubers have done amazing work. Yes, they have, Tiger. Tarot, power naps are awesome. You ain't only kidding. Sword Energy, LD's father was a Catholic priest. I did not know that. Do you think that's where his trauma comes from that causes his drug use? Just asking. Oh, that's horrible, Sword Energy. That's horrible. Uh, no, I'm not going to say that. I would just say his issues is his own creation, man. It's his own world that's causing his problems. Yeah, DD is over 2 hours. He loves answering all our questions and interacting with you all, but it's tiresome. It does kick my butt. I'm not gonna lie. The faithful servant. Up to 3 a.m. myself on this case. Amazing. Wow, Soaring, that's new info to me. Thank you, Paige, and thank you so much earlier here, April. Wow, Soarings, that's new info to me. Thank you, page, and they played a napping game as kids, a kidnapping game as kids. Yes, they did. How ironic is that, right? As a kid, you're playing the kidnapping game. And what are the odds that you get older and somebody actually fulfills that game? It's just crazy. Terry says, "Who is LD?" Luke Daly. April, Didi is the only streamer and I know who speaks to everyone, and I follow a lot of streamers. I try to do my best, guys. Try to do my best. LD equals Luke Daly. The faithfulness, yes, Lisa. The Catholic Church that LD's father came from before they moved to Arizona recently had over 20 priests involved in essays. Yeah, past priests. I really think it's more than 20. I can't remember. I mean, you're hearing this in all religions and all faiths, no doubt about it. You're hearing this in just about every other denomination. Is this is happening, and it's just a crazy world that we live in. It seems like. Jenny, I was just in chat with the digital. Nancy allegedly attended someone. Nancy allegedly attended. I was just in chat with the digital. Nancy allegedly attended. Someone said her church was St. Andrew's, and they have a live online service. Interesting, interesting. Is Luke Daly a streamer? No, he's everything but that, Tarek. April, we're the kidnapping game. We're the kidnapping game. Yeah, no doubt about it. LD is a second person LE question. Yes, no doubt. Tarek, oh, okay, you. Bridget, one of them because too good at the kidnapping game, right? They became the master of the game. They probably said when they were little kids, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna be the one that makes it happen. Just kidding, everybody. One of them became the good at the kidnapping game. Lisa Page, yes. AZ to Dewey. April, facts for sure. Soaring energy. The faithfulness servant. Faithful as servant says. Interesting, Jenny. Lisa Page, interesting. Yes. Jenny, great info. Thank you for that. Appreciate you. Kidnapping game is speaking it into existence. Who watch Parker Brothers are going to come out with the kidnapping game. Parker Brothers, you know, the ones who came up with Monopoly and the Game of Life, they're going to come up with the kidnapping game. Unreal. Bridget, Jenny, do they stream that has a link? I don't think so, to be honest. Paula says, Bridget, for sure. Coincidence. AZ, Soren and A calls T the Great Manifester. I'm not sure what the hell the Great Manifester is. I'm not sure what that really means in the big grand scheme of things. Manifest Nancy to come home. Bridget, Lisa Wright, Paula, I won't be getting that game for my kid. LOL, yeah. No doubt. No doubt. Well said. Bridget, Paula, yes, exactly. Soaring Energy, AZ, Sunshine, exactly. Jenny, yes, they do a stream it live at St. Andrew's Church. Interesting. Thanks for that heads up. Bridget, Paula, and me neither. Paige says, Paula. That's the whole point, everybody. What do they always say? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. There's a reason they say that. There's a very big reason they say that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I'm not saying the family's involved. I'm just saying there's nobody, I mean nobody, that is cleared. And as far as the family goes, there's no one that is cleared. And in my opinion, especially TC, because he was the last one to claim he had taken her home. No doubt, says Paige. It's crazy. It's just crazy, everybody. It's crazy to think that we've gone this long, literally, we've gone this long, 92 days at least, and we haven't got anything. Everything that has come out has been just discoveries by streamers, by other streamers who are now law enforcement, other law enforcement who are now streamers. It just makes no sense, everybody. And they didn't keep their car and they didn't keep their car for 41 days for nothing. That is a no doubt. Did they even look for that carpet, right? That carpet, or I say keep always saying carpet, that floor mat in front of the outside the door. I wonder if they even got any of that samples of that, if they weren't even looking for that, to be honest. It's just pathetic, man, when you think about all the information they had and how they just didn't pay attention to it. April, Soren agree. AZ agree. April, and they don't want Luke. They don't. They didn't swap Luke for nothing either. No doubt. I mean, the fact that we can't even get a copy, a FOIA, a request, anything on what were they charging, or what was their probable cause for going ahead and having a search warrant issued by a judge to search Luke's car, Luke's Range Rover, and his mom's house. What they don't even give you none of that info. Because if they gave you that info, you could at least see where they were going, like that rabbit trail. We don't even get that. I don't know anybody that has that. And in terms of carpet, at this point, we'd have to say Pima missed it and the FBI missed it, or would Nanos have told the FBI not to take it? He couldn't have told the FBI not to take it. Sorry, no doubt about it. But he could have not stopped the FBI from taking it. The FBI should have took it. They should have took it without a shadow of a doubt. That was just a mishap from both ends of the spectrum. No doubt about it. Paige, April, 100%. Paula, Luke said that he don't know why he got swatted. That's BS. Well, of course that's BS. He's the same guy that said, "Hey, are you stopping me for Nancy Guthrie? Is this about Nancy Guthrie?" And then repeated, "Hey, do you want to look at my phone too? Because you can look at my phone. It's on my dresser. It's on my top of my dresser. I didn't have it with me Saturday night." Who in the hell says all that shit? I mean, in all honesty, guys, come on. Who says all that? Mans says Nanos would have sent the matte fiber to Florida. Yeah, he probably would have taken it home and used it for his doormat. Oh my lord, that's just humor. But yeah, I mean, golly. Az says, could they have sampled that carpet with the white tent went up, although too late, in my opinion? I guess they could have, but why make a secret? Take the whole damn thing. Take it, roll it, put it in the brown bag, and tag it. And then use it for many things. Use it for just looking for that fiber anywhere. Just makes no sense. It's I almost feel like it's like a trickery, right? Like they're trying to trick the people, not letting them know what they have checked. But the reality is, that's how the people help you with cases, is they know what you've checked. They look for those things. They keep an eye out for those things, whatever those things are. Jody says at one time they came and put a white tent over the front. Maybe they were collecting from the rug thrown there. Yeah, but that maybe is like it could have been. It might have been. Why not just say they rolled it up and took it? What's the harm? Roll it up, tag it, and bag it. That's what you're supposed to do. When you're searching and you are looking for evidence and you find evidence, especially right next to the blood, you roll it, brown bag it, because there's not plastic bags usually that are that big that they use. Brown bag it and tag it, and that's it. That's what you're supposed to do. Do what your job tells you to do. Makes no sense. Agree, whole thing, DD. It's just ridiculous. It's just do your job. Do what you're supposed to do. I get it, mistakes happen. But here's the thing, everybody. Those type of mistakes, they cannot happen. You understand what I'm saying? Those mistakes cannot happen. You want to go ahead and leave a cup of water on a windowsill, raise the window to air it out because there's a very bad stench, and then you realize, God, why did I do that? That's one thing. But you want to go ahead and not collect information, there is no excuse for that. None whatsoever. Zero. That is all about solving a crime. If that's not your main thing and the only thing you are thinking when you are looking at a case, looking at a house or a property or whatever, an area, and you are looking for certain features or certain things that could possess literally a piece of the puzzle, and you don't take it, that cannot happen. If that happens, you know what? Somebody's getting fired. People are gone. It's just that simple. I am relieving people for negligence because that's like 101. You could open a fortune cookie and it would say, Confucius says, take all property when investigating. I mean, it's just common sense, everybody. Which is Nano's decision. Honestly, it's really the people that are doing the work, the detectives. Whoever's investigating this case, it's their job to do this. Yes, Nano is the overseer. He's going to take the hit big time. But they all who are doing this investigation need to take some ownership in that. Thank you, Jenny. Semper Fi, Devil Dog, the Radical Squadron. It just makes no sense. Tiger, check it out. Look up Savannah. Dad obituary. No Cameron or Annie mentioned. I think they have different dads. Charles Guthrie. I don't know about that one. I don't want to touch that one. Maybe I'll go look into that somewhere else. You never know. There's too much other stuff more important going on right now than that, to be honest. But yeah, that's a tough one. They should have taken the door, the mat, the entire door, doorknobs, flower plants, everything. Absolutely, Mannix. They should have took everything. They should have took the back gate anywhere in case they went ahead and took in that gate that they left open. They should have took everything. Everything that was possible that was left open or something that was put there, a flower pot or something. Nothing gets left behind when you're looking for any smallest little clue. Nothing gets left behind. Well said, Mannix. Wow, Tiger, radical, welcome in. Soaring Energy. Nano is a micromanager, right? So he shouldn't have said, he shouldn't, should have said after the rookies missed everything, wouldn't his personality have led him to make a list of everything that was missed and make them go back? You know, Soren, what he should have done is he should have been out there. He should have been telling his investigators, do we have everything? He should have done a walkthrough. He should have looked around. I know you trust your investigators. You know, you got to trust your investigators. But you know what? When you don't have an experienced investigative team, you have to go ahead and make it happen. You have to make sure this stuff gets done. You're the reason why you got elected is because you have the experience, the knowledge, the know-how, or you don't. You know? Gene always took notes. Tiger, look it up, Lisa. Like, subscribe. Like, subscribe, hit the hearts for DD. You all are appreciated. Every one of you are appreciated. No doubt about it. Hang on a second. Got to add some juice here. Hang on. There you go. There you go. I, I was just shocked. No doubt about it. There's the email, everybody. If you got information or you want to send information, there is my email. Probably would have sent it all to Florida. He says, I believe you, T. Jody, 100%. Tiger says, look at mine. Okay, let me see if we can find it. Tiger. Look it up, Lisa. Let me go a little further. Check this out. Look up Savannah's dad obituary. No Cameron or Annie mentioned. I think they have different dads. Charles Guthrie obituary. Definitely going to check it out. Hands. Does Annie and Tommaso go to church? If so, do they go for confession? That's a good question. Tiger, look at my post a minute. Bridget, is Nanos lazy or just don't care? Or shouldn't he know anything you're saying? He should know everything. He should know everything and a lot more on what I'm saying. No doubt. No doubt. He should know everything. That's his job. It's 101. But some people, they slip through the cracks. Some people get there in many different ways, and it's just not good. And when cases like this happens, no one anticipates stuff like this is going to happen. Okay, no one anticipates they're going to run into a situation where they're going to be in the spotlight, right? They don't go ahead and do that. However, when it does happen, that's when everything goes to shit because then no one's prepared because you got somebody that may be incompetent and not able to handle that type of scrutiny or handle that type of seriousness. And then it becomes all about him and not about the case. Instead of calling the FBI and saying, you need to be the ones who handle this because you guys have more experience and I really need your help, we're too proud. So we say, no, I can do it. I can do it. When you can't do shit because you slip through the cracks. I'm sorry. I just feel that way. And it just pisses me off. Next meeting for Nanos, says Manax. Next meeting for Nanos is May 12th. Hands, Bridget, 2628 Nanos don't get along with the FBI. No, we know that he don't get along with the FBI. We know he doesn't like the FBI. I'm sure that the FBI has looked into some of his claims, personal claims in the past. So no, but it goes beyond that. When you are in that position, you got to get your head out and you got to call it for what it is. Because if you don't, they're coming after you, just like they're coming after his job now. That's why he's dealing with this. Thank you, Mance. Google the obit. Charles Guthrie just pictured of Savannah. Also, none of Cameron or Annie. We'll do, Tiger. We'll do. AZ, can I ask why would there have been a report filed at 7 p.m. on the Pima County Sheriff's Office missing endangered portal for Nancy Guthrie on the 31st? And in Nano's first presser, he stated that they were called in Nancy Guthrie Saturday the 31st. Saturday the 31st at 7 p.m. 31st, and in Nano's first presser, he said that they were called Saturday the 31st at 7 p.m. I think you got the same time and date here. The report was filed at 7 p.m. on the Pima County report, 7 p.m. Okay, was filed on the Pima County Sheriff Missing Danger Portal. And that's got on the 31st. The process said that they were called to Nancy Guthrie Saturday the 31st. That's because that's because he wasn't paying attention to himself. That's because he has somebody who is his person who does all his public speaking, right? You would call somebody your PR guy who's supposed to handle that. And I do believe they have one. But instead, Nano's wanted the spotlight. And now he screwed it all up by the timelines. And now it's like the man doesn't know what the hell he's saying. For real, DD, we are all pissed. It just makes no sense. It gives a bad name in law enforcement in general. It gives a bad connotation to law enforcement, especially the department that's dealing with this case. And it's just sickening because it's the basic. You're not talking about you have to go above and beyond and all that. No, it's the basic. It's the things that you're looking for. 857 Tucson. Thank you, Double Dog. Great stream. Appreciate you, Tucson. God bless you, my friend. Thank you. He already read it, Tiger, the first time you asked him to. Thank you, Paige. Appreciate it. Be safe, babe. Can I have a water, please? Thank you. Sorry, I'll have to do it. Hello, Tucson. Welcome. Thank you for being here, Tucson. 857 is in the house, everybody. The faithfulness servant. More rabbit holes opening daily to dive into. That's the problem, You get so many damn rabbit holes and you can't even find your way to the basic, capsulation of getting some evidence that should be So simple. It's so simple and basic. Makes no sense. Hey, Faith. Love you. Love you, babe. Have a good one. The sad part about it is the families are the ones who are paying the price. That's the sad thing about it. Thank you for being here, 857. Appreciate you. AZ, right? But suppose the first and after church family called, right? Right, but supposedly the first and after church family called. Well, they called on the third. I think they called, if I'm mistaken. They called Annie when she didn't show up to hear to watch the live stream with her friends, to my understanding. Soren says this was the exact article mentioned in the paper, copy from the paper in Tucson. 857 Devil Dog, thank you very much, my brother. I appreciate you. God bless you, and thank you for everything you do, Tucson. Appreciate you. The Faithful Servant says, great broadcast yesterday, 857. Awesome. Tiger High 857. Lisa Page. Streamers rock. 857 Tucson says, new subscriber. Thank you, my friend. God bless you, man. I appreciate you. Just prior law enforcement experience and a military veteran, a Marine. I appreciate you. Just trying to get the word out. The Faithful Servant. Nice. Lisa Page. Thank you. JLR has the obituary of his on his live stream the other day. I will take a look at it for sure, Tiger. Thank you. April says at 857 Tucson, thank you so much. There's a lot of love here for you, 857. A lot of love for these people. These are great people. Great devil pups. No doubt about it. Devil pups to the core. Soaring Energy. I just looked up the obituary and Tiger is incorrect. All the kids are mentioned in the orbit. Okay, there you go, Tiger. Thank you for that. Thank you so much, Falls, for that real-time update fact check. Thank you. Well, there you go, Tiger. Falls just found it. Paige, I was relapsing on alcohol yesterday, 857. April, I am going to try to bring Mark in next. You do it. Make it happen, April. Gronsky, any new movies to watch? I told you, watch literally Frailty. If you haven't seen Frailty, you need to see it. Talk about an eye-opener. It is impressive. Frailty is very impressive. Stars Matthew McConaughey. Gotta watch it. Matthew McConaughey and what's his name? The guy that played on Twister. You guys know who his name is. I can't think of his name offhand, but you guys know who it is. Very good movie. If you want to kind of see something that's kind of freaky, watch Frailty, and it will show you some things that how the crazy mind works, how people when they lose, you know, their common sense, where they go off and how they drift and how they can get their kids involved in some shady shit. No doubt about it. Ooh, raw. Gronsky, any new movies? Thank you, Soren. We enjoy your live streams, Tucson, says Bridget. Good work, Soren. Appreciate you. And just to clarify, this was an actual screenshot of the actual newspaper printed in Tucson. Amen. Appreciate that, Soren. Tarek, He's a good actor. Yes, yes. I'm telling you, the movie's even better because it fits a lot of what we're seeing in today's world and what we're seeing here currently. And yes, Jody, it is free on Tubi. I always like how these come on there. Tubi comes on there and says, Tubi, Tubi. Growski, that sounds like a good one. It really is. Paxton, Bill, I think it's Bill Paxton. Bill Paxton is the guy's name that plays also with Matthew McConaughey. Fantastic movie. April, the movie is also in frailty. I got Richard's vibes. Not kidding. There's no doubt, man. How could you not? It was almost like everything was almost exactly the same, with the exception, you know, one was buried in supposedly water, the other was buried in the back of a cemetery. I mean, it just makes no sense. Soaring energy, DD, in your LE travels and training, did you learn about MK Ultra? You know, Soaring, no, I didn't. Not because I didn't want to, it's just because I just, when you're in law enforcement, I'll be honest, you look at a lot of things that happen to you. Down bandit, down bandit, down bandit. Hang on, I'm sorry, excuse me. Down bandit, bandit. All right, he's going to get away with this one. But the idea that when you're in law enforcement, you have so many things happening in your town, city, community, area, and you have a lot of things happening that you focus on a lot about what you're dealing with real time. Unless it's something like dealing with the bombing over there in Oklahoma City, the Oklahoma City bomber. Unless you're dealing with stuff like that that strikes close to home, you're dealing with so much stuff that it's like you don't even have time to look elsewhere and on other stuff. You know what I mean? So you're so consumed with your everyday job and what you're doing, and it doesn't have to be kidnapping or SA or a smurder or something like that. It can be anything, but you're so consumed that the only way you get involved in all these other ones if it crosses your path into the area that you work in. And then, yes, then it gets kind of, very difficult. But yeah, I mean, that's how it works. But all this information, law enforcement, it all runs the same course. The idea of collecting evidence is simple. It's not that it's easy to find it, but it's simple to gather it. And when you do see it, you take it. You don't say, well, this really don't have a whole lot. We took pictures. We got little swabs on the blood. No, take the whole damn little cut out. Um, what am I calling? Take the whole cutout, if you will. And what I mean by that is like the cinder blocks. The square. Cut them out. Take those pieces as evidence. Don't worry about the destruction of that part. People don't care. They don't care about the family. Just wants Nancy home. You see, and it was like just a lot of things. You guys know, just everything I talked about. They just didn't do a good job at gathering the evidence, and that's 101. That is literally 101. Okay, when you investigate a case and you're dealing with collecting evidence, that's 101. If it didn't get there by itself, if it doesn't grow by itself, then you take it because it's probably good evidence. That's how that works, and you just don't see that very often, where people make that bad of a bad decision that goes ahead and could end up costing them quite a bit. But yeah, sorry going on that tangent. April, that movie is awesome. For LT, I got Richard Chills. I am playing it for it today. Good deal, Lisa. You'll enjoy it. Dee Dee, is there all travels? Yes, yes. A lot of things in law enforcement, man. The littlest things to the biggest things. And I always say that every department, even when they're small, every department plays a big role because when you're in a small department, you have to be that investigator. You have to be that person that's the forensic guy. You have to be the guy. I mean, the only time you're calling somebody is if you're calling your shift supervisor, or if you're calling the coroner because it's a murder, or if you're calling your DA to come out there and see what you got. But short of that, you have to play a lot of roles. Bigger departments, they have things all categorized. So they don't have to do that. They got people that fit every single role, right? Whether they're forensics or whether they're this or that, or they specialize in gangs. So that's the difference. These things happen everywhere. They just happen more in bigger places. Okay? That's all. They happen more in bigger places. But that's just how it is. Sorry, trying to get back to where I was at so I can read everybody's off. Do apologize. Denmark. I was in a store in Honduras news. Wow, interesting, Denmark. Good to have you, my brother. J Bug, Bill Paxton. That's it. I went to high school with him. Rest in peace, man. He was one of my favorite actors. And don't understand why, but understand Bill Paxton in Twister was one of my favorite movies only because I lived literally in Ponca City, Oklahoma during that time. And they had come out to do the movie, and they did that movie Twister in that whole area that where we lived at. So it was pretty awesome. But yeah, I loved his movies. Lisa Page, what was Dan? What was Dan? Dan. Fill me in on that, Lisa. I'm not sure I know what Dan. J Bug Paxton. Yes, Paxton. Tarek, another good actor, no doubt about it. Lisa Page, Cool J. Cool J. Bandit behaves laughing out loud only when he wants to. No doubt. Arizona Bandit going for the cookies. Yeah, he got up there. He doesn't like it. I don't like it when he gets up on the table or the countertops. And that's the only thing I don't like. But hey, it is what it is, right? Ground ski. April High J. Denmark. What was the story in Honduras news, please? Let us know, Denmark. What was the story about? Mark has done footage. The blood and Matt was left behind. No doubt about it. No doubt about it, April. Tarek, Twister was a pretty good movie. So, yes, there's a lot going on, everybody. My thing is just trying to give you from a perspective of law enforcement why things can and cannot be done, why things can and cannot be released, why they can give you certain things and they can give you certain things, and then also to tell you when they screw up, when they don't do the basic fundamentals and get the basic things that they're supposed to get. And in this case, it's the evidence. Nano screwed up big time, and he's going to end up paying for it. He's going to lose his job, no doubt about it. He is going to lose his job because he let the people down. And what I mean by that is that he went ahead and the people lost faith in him because he didn't give them anything to feel reassured that he had things under control. So, therefore, because he lost confidence of the people, there's no way he's going to get out of this. He's going to be gone either by choice and keep his pension or not by choice and lose his pension. It's going to happen. And I think it's going to be the later. I think he's going to make his decision to leave because he doesn't want to lose his pension. I used to think the beginning of this case was totally botched based on what the public saw until I learned how much wasn't released in those first 48 hours. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. You have no what she was wearing last, or even a simple she's probably wearing something of this. She's probably going to be looking like this. If you see this woman, and she's wearing her nightgown or whatever the case may be, please call 911 or whatever your code is over there. The idea is that they gave you no information, even for someone to just, if they were driving by, let's say on a freeway, and they happen to look over and they see this lady tapping on the window, like asking for help, just to get the person's attention. The person would look at that and go, well, that's kind of odd. What is an old lady doing in her nightgown, banging on the window? Like, okay. Not that they would know what exactly is happening, but it would get their attention that they may go, Mom, did you see that lady? She's over there banging that window and stuff, hitting that window. She looks like she just woke up. Next thing you know what? I'm going to call 911 just to make sure. Easier things have happened to catch perps doing bad things. But that's just an example. But when you can't give the people the information that they need to literally understand and find and know what they're looking for, well, how in the hell do you start? We're looking for an 81-year woman. She looks like this, but there's nothing recent that we can say about anything she wore. Yeah, you can. The last night she was at her daughter's house, she wore her clothes, and that's what she wore. This was her last known attire. However, she could be in a pajamas. She could be in a whatever. But they didn't say nothing. And so the people can't help you look if you don't give them the details. And this garbage about not letting people search, you got to get a pass. That's ridiculous. I've never heard of something so crazy. You want the people to help. You know why? Because you want the people involved. You want them to get involved. You want them to go ahead and help you. They want to help you because they know that this is a big thing because it's their community. And you're telling them, no, we got this. I don't want your help. Well, what do you expect is going to happen? You know what I'm saying? What do you think is going to happen? And then you can't solve it. And what you do is you do everything but solve it. You botch it. Well, hell yeah, they're going to say, you're out of here. We don't want you here. So once again, I hate going on these rants. It's just the fact that you just cannot allow these things to happen. Gathering information, gathering evidence, that's 101. That's basic. That's basic. Everyone knows it. You're taught that. I've been to many different academies, and I'm telling you, they all teach the same thing. Maybe a slight variation, but they all is the same thing. They go from the same playbook. So it's not anything new. Just saying, everybody. All right, let me read what I got to read here. Hang on a second, everybody. Sorry about that. Yes, Paxton. Hi, Jay. How's it going, Jay? Good to have you. Denmark, what was the story in Honduras? Max has done drone footage. Sorry, buddy. Sorry, buddy. Houston, we have a problem. Houston, we had a problem. Yes. All right, there you go. Sorry about that. So, what I was saying was, reading the comments, Arizona, I used to think the beginning, yes, until everybody started. Arizona said, it made me realize the public only sees a tiny slice of sometimes transparency. That is a very true. That is a fact. No doubt about it there, Arizona. To take back, to protect the integrity of the investigation. Absolutely. I'm glad you see that because it is important to understand. This case taught me a lot about patience, context, and how every opinions can be shaped by incomplete info. No doubt about it, Arizona. No doubt about it. Arizona says, I firmly feel nothing will happen to nanos. I really think that that's probably the only part I disagree with you, only because, and not that it's a bad thing. I agree with what you're saying, but there's a lot of issues that Nano's facing, that he cannot control the narrative. And that's what's going to really do him in, is he cannot control the narrative. Okay. And is it possible? Everything's possible, as we well know. Just look at this case. But the reality is that I don't think he's going to be able to stay in his job. I really don't. Once you lose the confidence of the people you support, that support you. Once you lose their confidence, man, it's hell to get it back. I'm telling you. I think Nanos has backing in higher places because the answering of those questions followed none of the stipulations that the board had put on the request. It was like he was throwing his note. I understand. I get it. Jenny, I agree 100%. DD88 releasing her description and last seen wearing may have helped rescue her. It was botched. No doubt about it, in my opinion. I agree. No doubt about it, Jenny. Lisa, most major crimes hold regular, routine types press conferences and bring conferences to the public. They do. They really do. That's why they're important. That's why you see a lot of really good, solid uh, um, chiefs and sheriffs will have regular, even FBI when they're breaking news and stuff, they'll have regular updates. Why? Because it's crucial. It's crucial for the people to know because they can also help you resolve the issue that you're dealing with. They can help you solve the problem that you're dealing with. And that's why it's crucial. No doubt about it. 110%. Nano saying the family has been cleared. Not in my book. The family nowhere near is cleared. That's a fact, everybody. The Faithful Servant 777. Here's some info on Charles' obituary. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Arizona, you are back. Houston has a ride. The Faithful Servant Guthrie Charles E. 49 passed away June 10, 1988 while on mining exploration project in Mexico. Beloved husband of Nancy Long Guthrie, father of Charles Cameron Guthrie, Annie Pierce Guthrie, Savannah Clark Guthrie, all of Tucson, brother and Pritchard Wayne Hanson, aka City with Guthrie, Clyde with Guthrie. Another great Paxton movie, Apollo 13, no doubt about it. I agree 110%. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. The Faithfulness Servant, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Good job, Faces, Soaring Energy. Of Florida, also survived by many other beloved family members. Amen. Great info. No doubt about it, says Gronsky. Even with the Dems in the chaos against him, I still feel firmly he will have nothing happen because they know he has the upper leg with evidence and potential theatrics. It's possible, like I said, everything's possible. Just look at this case. No doubt about it. Everything's possible. I just don't see it that way. I think he's going to pay the ultimate price, but that's just my opinion. That is just my opinion. But you may be right. No doubt about it. Lisa, Denmark left a comment about Honduras newspaper and left, I guess. Yeah, it would have been nice to hear what about was in the paper. Arizona, the records show that this is not my belief. It is the records that show it. That is true, Arizona. I believe what you're saying. Angel Eyes, love your channel. I'm starting to think it's all stayed. Nothing odds up. Nothing adds up. This is a strange case. No doubt about it, Angel Eyes. Totally. 110%. It just don't make sense. There is 37. What records Arizona lead me to them? The idea, once again, literally, is that the streamers need to continue to do what they're doing. The people that are out there, I'll be honest, especially the people that live in Tucson, because they have a lot of access in Tucson. This is where this has happened, right? So if this case happened in Tucson and you have good streamers out there, which you do, and you all know who you are great streamers, you get out there and you keep pounding the pavement and you keep spreading the word. That keeps that alive, that keeps that going. Okay? So, and you're right there, it's your back door. Who better than someone who lives right there rather than someone that's trying to come from 1,500 miles away, 1,700 miles away to be able to do what you're all doing? You guys are there. Keep that story alive. Keep the pressure. Keep asking those questions, the main questions that need to be asked. You know, and eventually you're going to make headway, more headway than you can ever imagine. You know, if something was happening here in Ohio, like there is a case coming up here with the unaliving of a husband and wife by the ex-husband, okay, McKee, the ex-husband, unaliving Monique and Spencer Tepe in Columbus. I'm going to try to cover that. And the idea, I've been covering it, but I'm going to try to actually be there when it happens, when they go to court. So the thing is that for people who live in these areas or close to them, it's great that you guys are there because you're doing the work. And it's easier for you guys to do it because you're there. You know, that's how you literally make yourself known with the public, with the people, and they know who you are and they respect what you do. That's just for whatever it's worth. But yeah, Angel Eyes, love your channel. Here we go. Angel Eyes says, stage, in my opinion. It could be stage, Angel Eyes. It very well could be. Do I think it was stage? Honestly, in my honest opinion, in my professional law enforcement experience, I would say no, I don't think it was staged. But could it be? Yes. I've been wrong before. So I'm not gonna pretend like it can't be, because it could be. There's just a lot of dynamics in that. But I appreciate your opinion in here, no doubt about it, because it does. Your opinion matters. Everybody's opinion matters. Everybody needs to be heard because that's how we learn from one another. Angel, I tend to agree. Jenny, did you have a chance to watch the highlight video? I did. That was put together by Faithful Servant 77. I did watch it, Jenny. That was really good. Well done. Well done. I watched it just the other day, matter of fact. It was very impressive. I loved how you all did that. Loved it. Soaring energy. What else would you have to see, Dee Dee, to agree and say it was staged? Well, I think for one, they've had some very people of prominent experience in literally not just forensics, but in literally CSI. Okay, people in fields of expertise in literally blood splatter, how it all works, and even they are saying that it is almost impossible to stage some of what was left, the blooding with the bubbles and all that kind of thing. That it's almost that it. I mean, it can be done, but you have to be like above and beyond, like very, very intelligent to be able to pull something like that off. Because you hear a lot of people say, well, you take a turkey baster, or you take some type of baster, and you go ahead and you drop droplets down, and it forms like the ear, and even at the end, and this and that. Look, the idea is that these people who know what the hell they're talking about are literally saying it is near damn very difficult to pull off this, because the way and how low the body, the gravity, and the time it takes to form a bubble within a blood during a cough is just not very likely. So what would I think it would take to be staged? Short of someone coming out and saying, hey, this was all staged, That'd be the only way, because I just don't see it like that. Um, there's just too much there. And like I said, the dynamics of how you would have to place the droplets of 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 blood. Well, you got to get that blood from somewhere, right? So how are you going to get that blood from Nancy if it's staged? What are you going to do? Cut her and then drain her blood into a turkey baster or something, and then go ahead and take it out and start dropping your droplets? You know what I mean? It just doesn't. Could you stage it in general? Sure. Would it make any sense? No, because as soon as they test the blood, it's not Nancy's blood, right? In this case, this was Nancy's blood. So you got to ask yourself, how did they get her blood? Now you go into this Pandora box. Well, did she have any blood that was at the hospital? That, you know, how people store certain blood types and whatnot, and this, it's too much out there on something like this, in my opinion. You follow me? How are they going to get her blood? Are they going to take blood out of her, draw blood from her, and then go ahead and then put it in here? And then, you follow what I'm saying? It just seems so time consuming. So much has to be done. It is just almost impossible, because at the end of the day, that blood's going to get tested. And it did. And the blood came back to Nancy Guthrie. And it did. So I'm not sure I buy that theory. Could I be wrong? Sure. I'm not perfect. But everybody that I have watched that has a hell of a lot more experience than me in the professional realm of CSIs, people who do this linguistic, specific, this is all they study is blood splatter. This is all they do is blood splatter. They sit there for days and they'll do different testings on blood splatter to figure out what is going to give them that exact configuration. That's all they do. And then they finally find the right combination and they go, there it is. That's what it is. That's how they solve this kind of stuff. Okay. So I take their word over anybody else's word, because they are what professionals are all about. You know what I mean? Um, we're talking about, you have to believe the people that know and have studied this to understand what they like. If you ever seen them work, it's remarkable. They literally sit there and they drill down on this, okay, over and over and over, doing different things to get that same ballistic shield, the same ballistic splatter. In this case, it wasn't ballistic, but the same concept. You do the same thing over and over and over until you get that exact pattern, and then you go, bam, we got it. This is what it was. This, and that's the beginning, and that's only the beginning part. So I don't think I would ever really subscribe to that, in all honesty. But hey, I've seen weirder things happen, so anything is possible. Anything is possible. But I really do appreciate that question, no doubt about it. Also, the FBI can show for the month in January, where was there any calls from the third mile radius from Nancy discussing reporting any strangers in the area. One thing about the blood was never a constant for me, but because she bled so easily and perhaps bumped her arm and that night before saying goodbye to her friends, and when she walked to, and that's probable. That's very possible. No doubt about it, Soren. That's very possible. I'm just saying, as far as when I hear stage, I'm hearing like this is all a stage, a setup, and I just don't buy that. At that time they were leaving. You could be right. You could be right. The faithful servant says, "Has anyone looked close at her hands? They are very bad, bad, bad shape." Yeah, no doubt, no doubt, they are. The crime scene scenarios need to be analyzed based on the motive. Each motive produces different scenarios. Says capture. Nancy G, that is. When she walked into the mailbox, as you were saying goodbye to her friends, it's very possible. I'm not saying it can't be done, but they're able to tell you even if she was bent over which side her head might have been leaning, as she was being brought out of the house, what most like possibilities that it's going to be. They're even telling you how she had to be on her knees, about they can even tell you 12 to 13 inches, because if you're less than 10 inches or less than 12 inches, the splatter when it hits the ground is only going to go so much, or it's only going to hit the ground and go so far wide. But at 13 inches is going to leave the exact amount of radius I mean, they can tell you these precise things. That's what makes this so incredible. This is like the best. Um, this is like your mechanic telling you the most craziest thing, but this is like a think of your favorite pizza guy, right? He makes the best pizza in the world. Yeah, it's by taste, but he makes the best, and he tells you why he makes it, and he can perfect it. And anybody who tries to perfect that pizza, they can't even come close, because this guy has that special it factor. He knows it. He's done it. He's tested it. He's repeated it. Well, that's what these guys are like. They're like very professional in what they do. That's the only reason I say that. But it's a very good point, no doubt about it. I agree with a lot of what you're saying. Arizona, the faithful servant also had videos on vehicles that passed her home that first 2 weeks. No doubt about it. Makes no sense. Can't show Tommaso leaving or coming, but my God can show everything else. Soaring energy. If you look at the picture of her arms in the picture, forearms, they're all black with blood. I mean, yeah, it's possible. I'm just not subscribing to it, to be honest. But that doesn't mean I'm right. Just means I have a different opinion, and I respect all of your all's opinion. Jenny, Nancy's legs were also very marked up, as she is in a photo of her sitting outside in a chair. The unfulfilled servant, then a video of only the neighborhood folks, the ones walking dogs, says Arizona. Arizona Correction Memorial. The faithful servant working on the memorial now with the card left by the family. The strange one about scratched earth and ashes. That's a lot of deepness from Annie, no doubt about it, or what appears to be Annie. The faithfulness, the memorial one, will be the most empathetic and most viewed, probably, no doubt about it. Arizona. Another suggestion: just a video of all the drone footage reacting redundancy. No doubt about it. Agree with that 110%. None of the experts have said when they think the blood could have been deposited, says Capture. And no one has said, Capture, that anybody has said when the blood was deposited. Just for clarification. Bridget, I have suggested myself she could have cut herself in the yard a day or two before to clean up the blood. They can't tell us for sure when the blood happened. Soaring energy. I think Annie and Tommaso propped those back doors open and then told Savannah about it, and that's how this came up with the medical emergency. That's very possible. No doubt about it, Soaring energy. Capture. I don't believe they would have been struggling with her at the door. They would have neutralized her before they walked out. It's possible. No doubt about it, Capture. It's possible. Sorry, because if they use the back door, why would they navigate the front door? When would have been a clear shot from the back door to the right by the casita. Yeah, I mean, my whole thing is probably that when they were in there, they thought it was going to be as easy as an making a ham sandwich, that they realized, holy moly, like this went south real quick, and they started having to improvise. And when they started improvising, they were running literally real time. They were making decisions in the spare of the moment. And as they were making decisions on the spare of the moment, that's when everything was happening. You know what I mean? So their whole first theory of doing X, Y, and Z didn't go as planned and got, totally off track, that now they had to go to plan B. But if they didn't have a plan B, then what do? You make a plan B on the fly. And I think that's probably what happened, in my opinion. But, I can see what you guys are saying. No stairs, nothing like that. Bridget, I agree, Capture. Soaring energy, but they had 41 minutes to plan. They did. A lot more time than you would think anybody would have had, in all honesty. A lot more time. So it really just depends, in all honesty. It just depends. Um, but I just haven't seen anything that has literally pushed me away from that thought that this was all about a ransom for money, kidnapping for money, and it went south. And that's why you never heard of proof of life, because they couldn't give one. They couldn't give a proof of life. And anybody who knows anything about how this all works is you have to have a proof of life to get paid. And they couldn't get paid. They couldn't make that money. And that's when everything started, like they didn't know what to do. So then you started hearing people throw out ideas about, hey, send me this and I'll give you her back. But there's no proof of life. See, so Soren says, oh, I don't think it was a kidnap for money. It was a hit. But why take her with you? Well, then, and you've answered your own question. If it was a hit, they wouldn't have taken her with her. They would have left her there if it was a hit. I mean, in all honesty, that's how it works. If it's a hit, they're going to do the hit and leave. They don't want her body not to be found. They want her body to be found. They want to let people know this happened. You just don't know who done it. Yeah, this is definitely not that. From the very beginning, it was always about taking her for ransom. Wasn't a burglary gone wrong. They didn't take nothing from the house. Wasn't any of those things, you know. But yeah, I don't subscribe to that. I subscribe to the fact it was a ransom, because if it was a hit, they would have left her body there. They would have got out of there. Bam, bam, she's done, gone, and they're off their way. The less you're there, the less you can leave any type of evidence behind. And by taking her, you're always having that chance. You're always taking that chance by taking her, that you get stopped and you are caught with an unalive victim. That's not worth it. That's not how they do those type of things, in my opinion. Arizona says chocolate chips cookies are baking. There you go, Arizona. Gregory says hi. How you doing, Greg? Growski, yum, Arizona, no doubt. Paige, I think it's a cover up from Annie. Jenny, wouldn't they be able to tell when Porch Guy was actually there by the freshness of the paint of the plant material he took from the plant? Video daytime has never been released to my knowledge. You would think it'd be possible. I mean, you would think they'd be able to find out some way, shape, or form, but yeah, I just never heard of it. You know, then, I mean, yeah, just never heard of it, to be honest, Jenny. Exactly. They don't want the body. Nobody wants the body. Who would take a body? The kidnapping letters were making no sense. I think, yeah. Well, I think the reason why, Soren, that the kidnapping letters weren't making no sense was because they had no, the body was dead. They knew, or I'm sorry, the body was unalive. They knew that for a fact, they knew that they had to show a proof of life. They couldn't do that. So for me, they're saying that's why they made no sense. It was almost like grasping for straws. Let me see if I can get this. Let me see if I can get that. Let's see if we can salvage something out of this. Let's see if we can salvage anything out of this. You know what I mean? And I think that's what happened. They knew they weren't going to get nothing because they weren't going to be able to show a proof of life. That is almost 100% mandatory. You have to do. No one is going to pay you ransom money if you can't show it. They couldn't show it, so therefore they're stuck. So now you start writing these stupid letters that don't make any sense. If you give me Bitcoin, if you give me half a Bitcoin now and half when you capture the person that I tell you who did it and where she's at, then you give me this. And when it just sounded so ridiculous because the fact is they could not show a proof of life, in my opinion. The evidence, Dunker Cookie, says Arizona. The Couch Commander Choco Chips. You're funny, Arizona, no doubt. And then, of course, we also have blood evidence with plant materials on top of it. Yeah, that's a little puzzling because I did see a couple of little of what we would call plant material on top of some of the blood splats. I did see that in the photos I was showing earlier. The only thing I can say is maybe how the wind blows, and by the door, how the wind blows. Maybe there was a little bit of wind that blew that real light leaflets, if you will, very small, minute on top. You know how they blow and then it hits the blood and then it just kind of sticks. Maybe something like that. But yeah, I saw that. I hear what you're saying, no doubt about it. Right, and I saw that, but I only saw pieces, little tiny pieces like that. And that would mean to me that maybe, just maybe, you know how they get winds over there, and the way the front door is, maybe they got a wind gust that came in because they get wind gusts all the time. Maybe it moved a little bit of the real light stuff that was on top. You know how it kind of like moves over, like how it moves over with wind. Like if you took a blower, right, wind, and it moves over and it goes on top of that little bit of that blood dots, blood spots, and next thing you know, it just sticks there and stays there, and that's how they find it. Just saying, it seems logical to me, but hey, every theory is a good one, no doubt about it. Soren Energy, but I did see that absolutely. And you got a good point. If it was originally like that, you got a very good point. Gregory, good. Lisa Page, I think she died at Annie's house. I think it's pretty damn close to that, Page, no doubt about it. I think that's when everything went to shit. In my honest opinion, I think that's when everything went to shit. But who knows? Who knows? I mean, the good thing is we got a lot of theories and a lot of ideas. We just gotta have an open mind to see other people's points. But you're right. I agree with you in a lot of this, Soren, and Paige and everyone else. Capture. They wanted the body. It was too much of a sophisticated operation to leave the body behind. It's possible, I guess. Anything's possible. I'm not sure who would want the body. If you're committing unaliving somebody, having the body, it only puts you in more harm's way, I would think. No, I don't think. I know that would put you in harm's way because the potentiality of somebody seeing you or stopping you in the car for anything could be a light that you didn't know you had busted out. Could be a headlight that you didn't know would just went bad at the wrong time, at the wrong place, and you get pulled over and they see an unalive body. Yeah, your shit is up the creek. No doubt about it. And they may know that with all the investigating they did in the house and in the car. Very true. Very true. Agree with that. Jenny, Soaring Energy, good point. Never thought of that. Of Annie and Tommaso's house and car. Edge. CR, aren't they willing to pay for the body, which makes proof of life pointless? That's no, that's the whole point. That's the whole point. They came out recently and said, hey, we will go ahead and, let us celebrate with our mother either a life well lived or a life that's with us again. And that meant, hey, we just want the body. Just tell us where the body is. But no one has said that. And then this last few letters that came out that said, well, give us half Bitcoin. She's in. The person that sends that is the same person that sent the other one, which says, tell us where she's at. She's in Mexico. We saw her. I'll tell you where she's at and who did this for half a Bitcoin. And then when you arrest them, give me the other half. And then that same person puts in there, uh, um, time is not of the essence anymore. Like, well, she's dead. Well, the only reason somebody would tell you that time is not of the essence is to tell you that she is no longer alive. And why would someone tell you that? Well, because then you can't ask for a proof of life. See, because when you go back and you say, hey, I need a proof of life that you know where the body's at or you have the body, they say, well, I can't give you a proof of life. It's buried. I'll tell you where it's buried. And now you have to make that decision. Do I take a gamble and see if this person's either telling me the truth or lying to me? You know, that's the whole point. That's the first thing I got when they said time is not of the essence. Well, now they cover their tracks by saying, I can never give you a proof of life. you know and they were not saying they had it. They were saying they could tell them who did it and where the body was at. Well, that just tells you you're never going to get a proof of life. So you have to ask yourself, why am I going to pay for something that is not really like proof? That depends on the family. FBI show first on scene body cam footage needed. You can redact sensitive areas, blood and porch raised. Fair question about chain of custody materials. Says Arizona capture. Look at Jimmy Hoffa. They would have done the hit on the spot, and disappearance makes a bigger impact. Well, that's back in the day with the mob and with the lack of intelligence and the lack of information and the lack of technology that they had back then. They didn't have any of that. Today's technology, they can put something through a brick wall, put some type of devising, and it can tell you if there's something in between that material. I mean, they can put laser scanners and tell you if there's something in that. So it's a lot different from then to today, but it's possible. I'm not saying it's not possible. It's possible. I'm just saying I don't subscribe to it, but it is possible. All right, everybody. I think I'm going to end this live. What a great live. Anybody in the chat know about Sloan Bella? No Soren Energy. Sloan Bella doesn't come up to anything. Shoot me an email if you have the time. I would really like to look into that, knowing what it is. She had a very good track record in terms of being right physically about big stories. Interesting. That is awesome. Bridget, catch you later, Lisa. Soaring, she said one. She said from day one, or excuse me, about day that there's Nancy was going to know who did it. So, everybody, thank you. Appreciate you all. Thank you for all your questions and your comments. Love you all. Respect you all. You guys are amazing. To all of you who have subscribed and listened, and to the people who came out, Tucson, 857 Tucson, thank you so much. All of you individuals, you guys are awesome. God bless you. God be with you. And most of all, remember, it's all common sense. Everything is common sense. With that, simplify. See you all tomorrow.